A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
You, finding life pretty dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else? We offer you escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Green Splotches.
There is no longer any doubt in my mind. Though he walked like a man and talked like a man, Mr. 3 was not a man, but a plant. And his country, which he called One, is not to be found upon the earth. It is the only possible conclusion to make after what happened to us in the valley of the Infernal River. The three of us constituted the long geographical expedition to explore and map the wild, uncharted region of the Andes between Peru and Chile. There was our leader, Professor Anton Demetrius, once of the University of Bucharest, and now one of America's most distinguished adopted scientists.
In the valley of the Rio Infanillo, we should find some very significant geological evidence which may well change our present conception of the age of our planet.
There was young Leroy Haskell, the secretary of the expedition. Phi Beta Kappa, Ph.D., and as far as I was concerned, a scientific camp follower. He had written a book.
The material I shall gather on this junket will make a book that should simply dwarf the success of my Reindeer in Iceland. And you know how well received this was.
Then, of course, there was me, John Preston. My job was to survey the region and map it for the first time. There were two native guides, Jose and Pablo. We had been warned from the first. Everyone told us to stay away from the valley of the Infernal River, from which they all said no traveler has ever returned. But we were not to be dissuaded from our purpose. So after a week on the high mountain trails, we came at last to the entrance of the valley. A chasm that could hold 10 Grand Canyons. A vast and forbidding valley. Black, dark brown, and deep gray. A horrible scar. The flesh of the earth burned to a crisp. And far, far below, the twisting gray shimmer of the Rio Infernillo.
This is the place, senor. The Valley del Rio Infernillo.
Do we start back now? We'll spend the next 60 days in this valley.
There was no trail. The mules and pack llamas picked their way between boulders ranging in size from a man's head to his house. Jose led the party, rifle at ready, alert for the slightest danger. The way was steep, pitching us forward against the pommels of our saddles, jostling and jouncing us. It would not be exact to say that I was frightened by this forbidding valley of desolation, but I was depressed by it as I rode along. I was lost in speculation about the warnings we had received when a rifle shot rang out.
Did you see him?
What?
A man or something behind that rock.
Jose had slipped from his saddle, his rifle barrel still smoking.
Jose, come back here.
But he had disappeared among the boulders, swiftly stalking an unseen prey.
What was it, Pablo? Did you see it?
See, it was a man. Look, there they go. Down there between the rocks.
Come on. We slipped from our mules and started down toward the spot where we had seen Jose running after a fleeting, yellowish figure.
It is Jose. Hurry!
But when we got there, all we found was Jose's gun. That was all, except a splotch of green liquid on the stone, and smaller splotches of green splashed on one boulder after another, leading off toward the river. We followed the trail of green splotches, but they dwindled out a quarter of a mile away. We searched for Jose all afternoon, and finally gave up. Toward sundown, pitched our camp near the rocks with the green splotches. While Pablo prepared the evening meal, Professor Demetrius finished a chemical analysis of the green stain.
Well, gentlemen, this material is chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll?
Pure chlorophyll. The substance that makes all plants green.
Where would chlorophyll come from in this godforsaken place where there aren't even any plants?
That is a mystery we must set out to solve.
Oh, look. Look, the moon's rising.
Apropos of nothing.
I like to watch the moon rise. I find it a source of inspiration.
Source of inspiration. Sometimes that knuckle-headed secretary was more than I could bear. In the midst of the riddle of the chlorophyll, he seeks the inspiration of the rising moon. Nevertheless, a moment later, the professor and I also stepped out of the tent into the crisp evening air. Far down at the eastern end of the valley, the disk of the rising moon glimmered between two towering peaks.
It looks whiter and more silvery in this latitude.
She wears a cloud of mist like the veils of brass.
Does she now?
Look here, Preston. Just because you lack the gift of imagery is no reason, but... My God. Look! The moon. The new moon. Setting in the west.
He was right. Low in the luminescent western sky was the thin, delicate crescent of the new moon. And to the east, the full moon, which we'd been watching, had disappeared. A phosphorescent mist still hung about the peaks. And as we watched, it slowly faded away and left the valley of the infernal river in deepest blackness. It was more than my mind could cope with, but it didn't bother our bright young man. Next evening, Leroy had a curious report for us.
Well, I sold a copy of my book today, Reindeer and Iceland.
What?
Yes, I got this for it.
Gold. Nuggets of gold.
Yes, that's right.
Who did you sell it to?
Yes, what sucker gave you all that gold?
An Indian.
An Indian?
What happened?
Well, I was down the valley today gathering specimens of flora, and I just sat down to eat my lunch when I saw this Indian behind the rock staring at me. Then he saw the corner of the book sticking out of my knapsack. He pointed at it, and he said, "What is that, Reindeer in Iceland?" Well, I was surprised. And then he said just what I had been thinking. That book has a wider reputation than you imagine. I thought it'd be quite a gag to sell one of my books to a Peruvian Indian, so I went into a long spiel about what a really fine and useful book it is.
That shouldn't have been difficult for you.
It wasn't. I ended by telling him that he could have this valuable and excellent example of American literature for only $3.50. What is $3.50? He said. Have I got $3.50? I was just wondering about that, I said. Turn your pockets inside out and receipt. He did. And a lot of pieces of metal spilled on the ground. I took the gold nuggets and told him I'd include the other 4 copies I brought along. He's dropping back more for them.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think I'll turn in. It's been quite a day.
Yes, hasn't it?
If I brought more copies of my book, I could clean up down here.
Next morning, I was awakened by the sound of groaning coming from Haskell's cot. What I saw there awakened me with a start and yanked me to my feet. Professor Demetrius.
Professor. John, what's the matter?
Come here quickly, please. Something's wrong with Leroy.
What is it?
Look.
Is that Leroy?
Yes.
Why, his hair is turned white.
Overnight.
Well, what in the world happened to him?
I don't know. Here, Leroy. Come on, old boy, wake up. Come on, Leroy, wake up. Come on, fellow, wake up. Come on.
What's the matter?
Now, how do you feel?
You hurt anywhere?
My head aches and my legs burn.
Where?
Right here.
Let me see.
Here on my side.
Oh, that's a pretty nasty inflammation.
More like a third-degree burn. Right under your trousers pocket. Leroy.
Yes.
Did you carry that gold in this pocket yesterday?
Why, yes.
And where was it last night?
I put it under my pillow for safekeeping.
Yes, and that accounts for it. That gold is poisoned in some way.
Poison?
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
Here in the mirror. Is that me? Preston, did that stuff turn my hair white? Just tell me. Tell me.
Yes, my boy, it did.
Oh, no. Preston, look. Look, there he is.
I looked up. Standing in the entrance of the tent was an Indian with an enormous head and thickly painted face. He was wearing the usual white shirt and trousers of the cholo, and he was smiling a faint, ironic smile which made me dislike him intensely. The professor was first to recover from the shock of his appearance.
Did you give our young man here some gold yesterday?
I gave the young man some gold for some...
Did you know the gold was poisoned?
Poison? How?
Well, that's what we want you to tell us.
I haven't any idea. What effect did it have?
You can see for yourself.
Is this the same young man?
Yes, you nearly killed him.
Oh, how interesting. It must be the effect of a metal I carried with the gold. I do not know what you call it in your language. Possibly you may never have heard of it. Here is some.
Well, that's radium. Pure metallic radium.
Yes, sir. More radium than is known to exist in the entire civilized world. And carried around casually in the pocket of an Indian.
But I was burned by the gold.
That's right, but the gold had become irradiated by this piece of radium, which I might add is worth several $1 million.
You made a bad deal, Leroy. You should have taken the radium and left the gold alone.
I wish I'd given the book away.
Can't you gentlemen ever communicate with each other without using words and sentences?
What?
Huh? Suppose, Mr. Preston, you desire to communicate with Mr. Demetrius. Would you
How do you know my name? Have we met somewhere before?
I'm sure we have not. But when I paused, you thought your name. So naturally I knew it at once. I believe that's the ancient word for it. Mr. Preston, I perceive that you want to know my name. Well, I have a number. In my country, the citizens are numbered. I'm sure when your own countries become densely populated, you too will adopt a numerical nomenclature.
What is your number?
17,657,109-654.
That's not become a little hard to remember. Where do you come from, Mr.
The name of my country is One, or Perth. I dare say each of you comes from a country which you call One. No, I see I am wrong. America? Romania? Very pretty name, but quite unscientific.
Can you read our thoughts before we speak?
Certainly. I take the language formed right out of your own minds and use them. If the teacher has no language at all, one can see that he is products out of the aluminum age, and that arose from the prehistoric steel age. A very heavy, clumsy metal, I have heard archaeologists say.
Oh, breakfast, Pablo. Good. Set it up on the table there.
Senor Preston, he is the one.
What's that?
That man there, he murdered Jose. What? Everything he has on is Jose. He wears Jose's clothes and his shoes. On his finger is Jose's silver ring, I know it. I saw him that day when Jose disappeared.
Are you sure, Pablo?
Sí, ciertamente.
Pablo is quite right, gentlemen.
You admit that you killed Jose?
Oh, yes.
You realize, Mr. Three, that your confession will place you in jeopardy of the law.
Oh, then you do have laws in your country.
Why, naturally.
Pablo, take that rope there and tie Mr. Three to that chair.
Sí, senor.
You may consider yourself under arrest, sir.
Give Pablo a hand, Leroy. Time to kill him.
It will be a pleasure.
We will have to carry him before a magistrate. That is most inconvenient.
Professor Demetrius, you have studied physiology?
Yes.
And perhaps vivisection?
Yes?
Then why all this fuss about the killing of a lower animal for scientific ends?
A lower animal? Mr. Three, we are all human beings. Granted, Jose did not have the intelligence or culture such as we have. Nevertheless, he was a human being.
Senor Preston, the pack animals, look, they're broken out of the corral.
I rushed from the tent, followed by Leroy and the professor. The mules and the llamas had indeed broken through the corral fence and were stampeding down the valley as if pursued by the devil himself. Pablo tried to head them off, desperately shouting and waving his arms, but his efforts seemed silly in the face of their headlong flight. And then my attention was diverted in another direction.
Preston, look! Our tent's on fire!
It was. A sheet of flame licked up the oil canvas and enveloped the ridge.
Our prisoner! We're burned to death in there.
I'll get him. I ran back to the tent, pulled up the stakes to the rear wall, and shoved into the smoke-filled tent. Mr. 3 was still sitting in the chair where we tied him. He slumped queerly, and the brim of his hat had dropped down to his shirt. There was no time to untie him. I picked him up, chair and all, and rushed down to the tent just as the walls collapsed. It occurred to me that he was remarkably light.
John, is he all right?
Suffocated, I said.
Slows the burning. Help me beat out the flames. Hey, what's this?
He's collapsed.
The clothes are empty.
No. No, not quite.
The professor tore open Jose's clothes and pulled from within a human skin.
What in the world?
It is the skin of Jose.
How do you know?
There on his arm. The tattoo of the cross.
Yes, I remember Jose had such a tattoo.
What does it mean?
It means that somebody or something has been stalking us, disguised in this...
But I don't...
Exactly as a hunter stalks a deer, in a deer robe.
Then it wasn't a human being?
It was the devil. They wonder.
He knows he's a human being, but he doubts if we are. Did you notice how supercilious he was? He probably thinks of us as the missing link between the apes and himself. We are animals to him. He puts on one of our skins to hunt us down. As we stood in the merciless sunshine in that black valley of hell, we were 4 frightened men, powerless to combat the kind of magic or witchcraft or super science which opposed us. And then I noticed a strange thing. A rabbit broke from behind a boulder and dashed between our feet, scampering down the valley toward the river. I looked up and saw Vicuna leaping from boulder to boulder, and there, slipping between the rocks, was a panther. Suddenly the whole valley seemed alive with flying animals, all rushing headlong toward the river. Rats, adhawks, civets, and finally a huge Yucamare, the great black bear of the Andes, lumbered by so close to us we had to jump out of his way. But he paid us no heed. He was too intent on following the others toward the river.
Now, what in the world?
Look, up the valley, hopping from rock to rock.
What are they?
They look like yellow fleas from here.
Whatever they are, they must be what stampeded our pack animals.
This is the devil driving all the animals into hell.
Look again, Pablo. They're getting bigger. They look like men to me. Yellow men, with the agility of mountain goats. As the strange hopping figures approached, we could see that they carried some kind of short metal rod that flashed in the sun. The closer they came, the more animals rushed by us. Devil or no devil, it was too much for Pablo. As a beautiful speckled deer came into view, Pablo raised his rifle.
Don't shoot. There must be no holes in the skin.
We whirled around. Behind us on a large boulder stood Mr. 3. He was naked, having shed Jose's skin. His face still carried the red paint of his Indian masquerade, but the rest of his body was a soft yellow, like a ripe peach. His feet were disagreeably small, which accounted for the ease with which he escaped our rope. In his hand, he carried a small metal rod.
I must apologize for setting fire to your tent, gentlemen. It was quite accidental. I did it with this focusing rod as I slipped out of your rope.
Focusing rod?
Yes.
What does it focus?
Radio power.
Why, that is the most compact transmitter I've ever seen.
It's really quite primitive. I imagine it came into use among thinking creatures along with fire, the keystone of the art, and the remote-controlled rocket. They were all important additions to human knowledge, but their discoverers and the dates of their discovery are lost in prehistoric eras. You men will follow the rest of the quarry to the river. Everyone must go. What did you say? Follow the rest of the animals to the river. Be quick about it.
Now, look here, Three. We'll do as we please.
Why should we go?
So our commander can select specimens to carry to the land of one.
Oh, I see. He wishes our scientific advice on the selection of animals.
Your advice? You bunch of idiots. He's going to select one of you as a specimen to carry to one. Now get along. I don't want to have to use force.
You won't get us any other way. Take cover, men. The four of us threw ourselves behind the boulders. Mr. Three didn't move. He still stood on top of his rock a dozen feet away. I raised my rifle, got his huge, ugly head in my sight, and squeezed the trigger. But the gun never fired. And suddenly my arms and legs were contorted in painful spasms. My body stiffened, and it seemed as though my brain were on fire. When I opened my eyes, I was flat on the ground, and so were my companions.
I think that you are convinced now of the futility of opposition. So shall we stroll together in the direction of the river?
You realize that you're creating an international incident. The United States of America does not stand for such treatment of its citizens. You'd better think twice. This thing can get out of hand. It may even become a matter for the consideration of the United Nations, and it can certainly lead to war.
Indeed. That should be interesting. Professor, do you creatures really represent a scientific body?
Why, of course we do. The DeLong Institution.
How quaint.
And I'd like to have some things explained.
I'll be very happy to oblige if I can. Oh, yes, I perceive your questions. We are here to extract radium from the pitch blende in this valley. We do this with a portable furnace. The strange lights you saw in the evenings occurred when we moved our furnace from place to place. We always do that at night. To do so during the day is inconvenient because the sun's rays are apt to create a local ether storm.
Yes, I can see that it might.
Hey, look.
What?
Look ahead there. A flying saucer to end all flying saucers.
As we rounded a huge boulder, there stood an enormous cylinder of metal. It towered at least 750 feet into the air and rested on a stern which could not have been more than 4 feet in diameter. Its huge bulk shored up by metal rods several hundred feet long, which protruded from the ship where the barrel began to taper toward the stern. 500 feet up the side of the cylinder were controlling planes, which looked tiny in comparison to the great bulk, and indicated that it must travel through space at inconceivable speed. Around the base of the ship, squads of yellow men were rounding up the animals in cages and stowing them aboard. They worked with military precision, obviously under orders, although no sound was uttered since all communication was mental. As we approached the ship, 4 yellow men appeared with a large cage. And from a porthole about 75 feet above the stern, another yellow man with a scintillating star on his forehead stared down at us. Mr. Three drew himself up stiffly and saluted. What followed was a one-sided conversation put into words by Mr. Three, apparently for our benefit.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Ordinary ruby-blooded mammals, sir, with intelligence somewhat higher than monkeys, sir. They communicate with simple thoughts exactly as monkeys do, sir, by chattering. They are absolutely insensible to all mental vibrations, sir, more completely than the 4-legged animals. I would suggest you take all 4. They will prove very amusing, sir, in the National Zoo. Their attempts to deceive each other and even me, sir, are quite ridiculous. I believe you will find them much more humorous than chimpanzees. Sorry you haven't to stay. In that case, I suggest we take the brown one. He is the best physical specimen and obviously better adapted to his habitat. None of them have any minds to speak of. Very well, sir.
As the yellow men closed in on him, Pablo whipped out his knife, slashing and stabbing at his assailant. And every time his knife found a mark, green liquid spurted from the yellow body. They finally disarmed him, and in answer to the thoughts that one of them, Mr. 3, said,
I can't use my focusing rod. It might destroy what little mind he has.
A moment later, they were carrying Pablo by arms and legs toward the cage. He turned his pathetic, bloody face toward me.
Send your precious, for the love of Holy Mary, save me. Save me.
And something snapped in my brain. I started toward Pablo's captors. Mr. 3 leveled his focusing rod, and my brain seemed on fire, and everything went black. When I came to, the yellow men had vanished. The spaceship stood poised in the light of the setting sun. Their ports and hatches closed. The professor and Leroy were leaning over me.
John, are you all right, John?
I guess so.
That jolt he gave you must have been a nasty.
Rather like the electric chair I had. The turn of the spaceship, a luminous gas seemed to boil off in whirls of furious light. The restraining rods were cast off, and the huge cylinder shot straight up into the air at a precision.
Blue, green, yellow, orange, red. You mean exactly, John? It was going so fast, the light of the exhaust ran through the entire color spectrum. It was traveling at least at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second.
Look that phosphorescent glow. It's all over the hill.
Yes. And it's all over us. Yes. I believe we are covered with the residual emanations of radium. I suggest we go down to the river and wash it off. Otherwise, it will presently kill us. Professor?
Yes?
Did you notice the green liquid spurting from those creatures when Pablo knifed them? Like green blood? It was not blood. It was chlorophyll.
But how could...
You see, gentlemen, Mr. 3 and his comrades were not animals. They were plants. What? That's impossible. But true. Well, Leroy, you should be able to write quite an interesting book about this expedition. One that might even outsell Reindeer in Iceland.
Yes, Professor. But who would believe it?
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Green Splotches, written in 1920 by T.S. Scribbling and modernized and adapted for radio by Mr. Robeson. Featured in the cast were Bill Conrad as Preston and Paul Frees as Professor Demetrius. Also heard were Ted DeCorsia, Harry Bartell, Barton Yarborough, and Jay Novello. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You're trapped on a lost plateau in the shadowy depths of the Grand Canyon. At your feet lies a fortune in ancient gold, and beside you, holding a gun at your head, is a half-crazed Indian from whom there is no escape.
Next week, we escape with the story of a man who faced the murderous fanaticism of an ancient tribe to recover a fabulous treasure in golden relics, as Paul Pierce tells it in Grand Canyon Suite. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Maybe you think there's no such thing as flying saucers, but Charlie McCarthy claims to have captured a flying saucer pilot, and he gets Van Heflin into the plot this Sunday night. You'll find it as merry a spin as Charlie and Edgar Bergen have taken you on. And there's plenty of fun earlier when Al Jolson trades gags with Jack Benny.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape to the interior of China and the story of a gentleman gambler from Virginia, matching wits with a murderous warlord whose word can mean life or death. As Ahmed Abdullah tells it in his famous story, The Ambassador of Poker.
Gangway down, sir.
Very good. Here he is, sir.
Captain, I demand to know the meaning of this. This sailor has forced me to pack my baggage, vacate my cabin, and come here.
He did it on my orders, Mr. Fairbairn. You are leaving this ship.
Leave it? But you're mistaken, sir. This is only Hong Kong. My passage is paid to Singapore.
In this envelope, you will find the refund of the remainder of your passage. It comes to $43, I believe. Good day to you.
Well, you can't do this. I demand an explanation.
I shall give it to you in a word. Poker. There is not a man aboard, officer or crewman, who has not lost every cent he had to you.
You're implying that I play dishonestly? That I cheat?
Let's just say that you win, too, consistently.
Sir, I am Randolph C. Fairbairn of Charlottesville, Virginia, sir. A Southern gentleman. I have never cheated at cards in my life, and I never will. Here in my wallet is all of the money I won on this voyage. Some $324, I think. Take it. You may distribute it among the men. You will, I presume, allow me to keep the $20 bill that I had when I came aboard.
I cannot accept this money back, Mr. Fairbairn, but...
Then throw it overboard. Here, allow me.
No. Wait, I'll take it. I'll return it to the men.
Thank you. Now, if you will, pardon me.
Mr. Fairbairn, perhaps I have misjudged you. If so, I'm deeply sorry.
Your apology is accepted.
But you must admit your winning all the time is...
That is my good fortune, sir, and my curse. I simply cannot lose.
Perhaps if you would agree not to play poker, perhaps you could stay on board to Singapore.
No, sir, I do not stay where I am not wanted.
But you haven't much money. How will you get along in Hong Kong? What will you do?
Why, I expect something will turn up. If not, I will play poker.
On the Hong Kong waterfront?
Certainly.
Well, sir, if you play and if you insist upon winning...
I can't help winning.
Then, Mr. Fairbairn, I should advise you to be prepared for a great deal of trouble. I should advise you to slip a gun in your pocket alongside your rabbit's foot.
Mr. Fairbairn, are you staying on another week?
Why, yes, I believe I will.
Oh, well then, sir, we shall have to have payment for the room in advance.
Yes, I'll take care of that tonight. Right now I have something important. By the way, do you know where I might find a poker game?
Poker? Oh, no, sir, not in this hotel.
Poker? Yes, sir. If you don't value your life too highly, on the waterfront, Pearl Dock Street, down the alley of the Heavenly Fish, the Black Dragon in the back room.
You are bluffing. I call you.
3 lovely ladies. Well, mon ami, you are unlucky tonight.
You wait. Just you wait. All right. Deal the cards.
Gentlemen, I beg your pardon.
Who is this one?
What is it, young fella? I wonder if I might sit in this game, if you don't mind.
What?
Regardez, you're just a boy.
Why, of course, old chap, of course. Happy to have you. Won't you sit down, Mr.
Fairbairn. Randolph C. Fairbairn of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Well, sit down, Mr. Fairbairn. This is Frenchy Frenchy, Van Alkemade, Rangoon George, the Croker, and, you just call me Skip.
How do you do, gentlemen?
Always happy to see a new face in the game.
Yeah. How many chips do you want?
Why, $17.64 worth as a starter. There.
Is that all you have?
I'm afraid it is. For the moment, at least.
Oh. Well...
I don't think I'll need any more.
Me? I love the innocence of the very young. Deal, mon petit.
Raise you 5.
Very well. Call.
3 aces.
Sorry. Full house. 9s over 4s. I'll play these, gentlemen.
Mon Dieu. Another fat hand.
Check to you.
No, not to me, old fellow. I'm out.
Moi aussi. It's all yours, monsieur. Unless... no.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, wait a minute. You get out.
I beg your pardon?
I said get out. This joke has gone far enough.
Joke? I don't understand.
Get out.
Don't worry, sir. I don't care to stay where people don't want me. Here, cash my chips, and I'll move along, gentlemen.
What?
Cash your blinking chips, did you say, young fella?
Why, yes, sir.
Oh, to the devil with you. Beat it while you can still walk.
Gentlemen, I must insist upon my money.
You what?
I am an extremely nervous man. I do not like to fight, but...
Out! Get out before I...
I'm sorry, sir, but I warned you. Though I don't like fighting, my mother insisted that I study boxing.
Let me at him. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
Sorry, gentlemen. I dislike using the gun, but I had no choice. You may get up, sir. You are uninjured. I merely shot into the ceiling. And now, if you will be good enough to cash my chips, I can be on my way.
$84, $85, and 20 cents. That's it to the penny.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, if you will remain facing me with your hands up until I have left the room...
Be careful with that thing.
There is very little danger. I'm really a very indifferent marksman. Who's that?
There is no need to fear this humble one, sir. Good evening. I watched a little scene you enacted just now, Mr.
Fairbairn, sir. Randolph C. Fairbairn of Charlottesville, Virginia, sir.
Of course. The Virginian. All of you, go.
Well, you certainly have that pack of rats under your thumb. A wave of your hand, and they are gone like magic.
Not magic, my friend. The power of money. That is more practical. Besides, I own this place. So, you are Virginian?
Yes, sir, an unworthy son of that great and noble Commonwealth.
Oh, I am delighted. My late partner was Virginian. I am Shangpao of Jones and Shangpao Importers. Pardon inquisitiveness, but would you care to go to work?
Well, I am not a businessman, and I don't speak Chinese.
No matter. You are gentleman and fighting man.
Oh, not a fighting man. No, you're mistaken.
No matter. I need man like you, and it will be worth a great deal of money to you.
How much?
$5,000.
But for what? What is the job?
To recover for me a fortune from the interior of China, an object no bigger than your hand, weighing less than 4 ounces. The British Museum has offered £10,000. Your own Metropolitan Museum will gladly pay $50,000. Private collectors, more, much more.
Well, why? What is it?
Is thin gold wafer, on which is impressed only imprint known of Great Seal of Yin Dynasty, 3,000 years ago, is priceless relic. And it was, and legally still is, property of Jones and Shangpao. It will be your job to return it to me by whatever means you are able.
But from where? Who has it now?
You have heard of General Kung?
No.
Notorious bandit, now puppet ruler of Namyung? On some pretext, he confiscated seal from my partner. Jones died while trying to recover it of typhus, so it was said.
Too bad. Well, how am I to get the seal from him?
Perhaps way will suggest itself when I tell you that General Kung also liked to play poker.
So that's why you picked me.
Perhaps. You will do it?
Well, I'll go a long way for a game of poker.
Excellent. I shall arrange for you forged document, safe contact pass. Also reliable Chinese guide. You must be careful. Watch out for a beautiful young lady with red hair like sun. She is perhaps after seal also.
Huh? Who is she?
I do not know. But I do know she is dangerous. Also, young Mr. Fairbairn, let me say this to you. Though you do not like fighting, this is China, not Virginia. If you get chance to slit throat of General Kung, do so promptly before he does same to you.
In just a moment, we will return you to the second act of Escape. But first, on CBS's Gene Autry Show this Saturday night, you'll hear how Easter is celebrated in the West. The King of the Cowboys will bring you a sketch about a young Western minister whose Easter sermon helps to solve a mystery. And Gene will also be singing some special holiday songs. Vaughn Monroe will be around this Saturday with some of his famous music making, so be listening for them both, Gene Autry and Vaughn Monroe, on most of these same CBS stations. And now for the second act of Escape, and the story of Randolph C. Fairburn, the ambassador of poker.
Is this the place, Mao Tzu?
Hello, General Chung. Take hotel, chase people away.
Oh, he confiscated that, too. All right, let's go. What's this?
God say we no can go inside.
Tell him I want to see the general, Mao Tzu.
呢位人想見將軍。
將軍現在唔得閒，你哋走去啦。
What did he say?
He say no like American here.
Tell him I'm an ambassador from Virginia.
佢係美國大使 Virginia。
無論佢喺邊處嚟都好，佢現在非常之唔得閒啊！你哋快脆啲走去啦，唔係我拉入你啊！
What did he say?
He say no.
Tell him I'm an ambassador of poker. Tell him to tell the general that.
Did you say poker, Mr. Fairbairn?
I did, sir. Would you care to have a game?
Come in. In here, Mr. Fairbairn.
Thank you.
I have cards and chips. And excuse me. This is Miss Grushenka, Mr. Fairbairn.
How do you do?
Wow. I hadn't expected to find such a lovely lady.
Spasiba. You are gallant.
Oh, it's an old Virginia custom, madam.
Oh, you American. You will excuse me, perhaps.
Oh, don't leave.
Of course, my blossom. You may go now.
Da. До свидания.
Goodbye, miss. It was a pleasure to...
Now, Mr. Fairbairn.
I'm sorry. I hope I haven't interrupted anything.
It is nothing. Only a woman. Sit down.
But a very beautiful one, with lovely red hair.
Still a woman. I have not played poker for many moons. Cut for deal?
And the stakes?
Shall we say 100 a chip?
$100? All right. Three aces. Enough?
Deal.
Full house. Enough?
Deal again.
King high straight. Enough?
Another.
Heart flush.
All right. That is enough. You play poker very well, Mr. Fairbairn.
I can usually win when I want to.
You put me in embarrassing position. You have wiped out treasury. Now I must collect another tax. And last one was only last week.
That won't be necessary, General. I think we can make a deal.
What kind of deal?
Instead of the money, I'll take the yin seal for payment.
So, now I understand. You cannot be that naive, Mr. Fairbairn.
I played the game in good faith, sir. I demand that
You demand nothing, American pig. You will think over your stupidity in my prison. 拉佢落個樓下鎖住佢，唔好俾人見佢。
得咯。將軍唔准我哋入去咯。
It's quite all right, I tell you. General Kung has given me his permission.
真個好唔得咯。
Dolja. Oh, hello, Mr. Fairbairn.
Well, hello. Nice of you to come and see me.
If I get you out of here, will you help me?
What happened to your Russian accent?
Will you?
Oh, yeah. Of course, it wasn't a good accent anyway. Unless I'm crazy, you're from Virginia, too.
That doesn't matter now. We've got to get out of here.
We? Well, I thought you and the general were friends.
Not at all. I was living in the hotel here when he took it over. He won't let me leave.
You could just walk out.
How? He confiscated my credentials. Keeps me almost a prisoner. Refuses me a safe conduct pass.
So you want mine?
Well, why not? You can add "and wife" to it. Something like that. There wouldn't be any trouble.
Well, if I'm to have a beautiful wife, I think I should at least know her name.
It's Susan Jones.
That begins to fit. Susan Jones, daughter of the American partner of Jones and Shang Pao. And you're after the yin seal, too.
How did you know?
Never mind. But why did Shang Pao say that you were dangerous?
Because he's after the seal for himself. And it belongs to me. It was my father's, not the company's. He's trying to steal it from me.
Or you from him.
Honestly, Mr. Fairburn.
Never mind. Where is the seal? Can we get it?
Easily. He keeps it in a strong box in his hotel room. He showed it to me. Oh, I could have got it long ago, but I couldn't have gotten away.
All right, now, how do we get out of here?
Would this help?
What? My gun. Definitely. Now...
If I were to call the guardian...
And I would... Yes, you're a very practical girl.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Bing Jai! Bing Jai!
Lie low.
Heidi.
Sorry, old boy. All right, Miss Jones. Lead the way. What's the matter?
He's in there. We'll have to do something.
What?
You leave it to me. You be ready when his back is turned.
Miss Jones, I don't think I should let you, a young lady from Virginia.
It's Grushenka. My blossom. Come in. So, at last, you come to me, my sweet one.
Daragoy.
Come to my...
Good heavens, what did you do to him?
Simple. A judo trick. My father insisted I learn judo.
Did you kill him?
No. But he'll be asleep for a couple of hours. Long enough for us to get the seal and get out of here.
You back so soon, Master?
Come on, Mao Tzu. We've got the seal. Let's go.
How are we going to travel?
We'll use this car.
That's General Kung.
So I see. And that's his chauffeur, no doubt. You two get ready to jump in. I'm going to say hello to him. Oh, I say, old man, how are you? Let me shake your hand. That's it. Okay, let's go. We're going to have to get rid of this car soon. Mao Tzu, what's this village up ahead?
Chengpen.
Can we get a train there?
Oh, yes. Little train, sometime.
All right. Mao Tzu, you get rid of the car. We'll see about the train. Bad luck. No trains until morning. We'll have to stay here overnight.
There's a little inn over there.
Not exactly the kind of place I'd usually take a girl from Virginia, but the only trouble is Mao Tzu isn't back and I can't speak Chinese. How do you say 2 single rooms?
I can speak enough for that. Come on.
Yes? Who is it?
It's me, Susan.
Oh, just a minute. Hello.
May I come in?
Sure.
Here. I thought we really should have a drink. Sort of a toast to our escape.
Well, what is it?
Oh, some special kind of Chinese wine. The proprietor says it's very good.
I really don't think we should celebrate just yet.
Well, of course, if I'm repulsive to you.
Oh, no, nothing like that. You're...
Beautiful. Of course. So shall we drink to my beauty?
Yeah. To your beauty.
Oh, such a little sip. I'm more beautiful than that.
Oh, yeah.
Down the hatch. There, now, that's a big boy.
That wasn't bad. Not bad at all. Didn't know the Chinese made wine like that. You have more?
That'll be enough.
Well, what do you mean?
In about 2 minutes, you'll be fast asleep.
Asleep?
Some of these Chinese wines are interesting. Special. Something like a Mickey. I don't think you'll be terribly sick, though, when you wake up.
Susan, What is it?
Simple, dear. I can buy a lot of negligees like this one with that $50,000, and I don't intend to share it with Sheng Pao any more than he does with me. So, well, I really hate to trouble you, Lamb, but I need the seal, your safe conduct pass, and your gun.
Susan, you're a...
No names, Lammy. It isn't chivalrous. And you're a Virginia gentleman, remember?
Susan.
I'll leave you the cards, dear, so you can play solitaire. Bye-bye. Pleasant dreams.
Why, you... Oh, my head. How long has she been gone, Mao Tzu?
4 or 5 hours.
That's enough. We can't catch her now.
I think maybe yes.
How?
She take first train. It's slow train. We take next train. It's fast train. We catch her before she get to Hong Kong.
Good boy, Mao Tzu. Let's go. Miss Jones, I believe.
Oh, Randall.
Sorry to startle you, my dear. No, don't reach. I'll just take your bag. I suppose the seal and my gun and my safe conduct pass are inside. Thank you.
Oh, Randolph, honestly, I'm so glad to see you. I've been hating myself for what I did to you.
You have?
Oh, yes. I really like you, Randolph. I wouldn't have done it except I needed the seal. You know, a little old girl like me alone in the world. I am alone, you know, Randolph. And the seal was my only inheritance from my daddy. Mm-hmm. I'd be penniless without it. You wouldn't want that, would you, Randolph?
You wring my heart, Miss Jones.
All right. I suppose it's just as well, really. This way, at least, I won't be a criminal.
What do you mean?
It's you who'll be the criminal, you and Sheng Pao. Well, what are you going to do about it?
I don't know. I'll have to think.
Well, think fast. We'll be in Hong Kong in an hour. Well, Randolph, what are you going to do?
Come on. Let's get out of the station, then we can...
Greetings, old chap.
Just stand where you are.
And you too, mademoiselle.
Randolph, who are these men?
Some old friends. And this time I'm afraid they're prepared. I can feel their preparation in the small of my back.
Yeah, so march.
I'll bet you could have found a dirtier, smellier back room to bring us to.
Shut up.
They haven't got it.
He must have.
I tell you I've searched. They haven't got it.
Come on. Tell us, where is it?
Who are you working for, General Kung?
Where did you put it?
Put what, gentlemen?
You know all right, the seal.
I don't know. Maybe I lost it.
Wait. Save it until the boss gets here. You'll know how to make them talk. Trust the Chinese.
Yeah, but it may be ours.
Well, here is cards. Why not play where we are waiting?
Well, that's an idea. Why not? You deal, Frenchy.
Randolph, darling, if General Kung...
Don't worry. I'll think of something.
I know you will. You're wonderful. But just in case, I want you to know I am sorry for what I did.
Hey, you kissed me.
Yes. Did you like it?
Yes, only darn it, my hands are tied. But I've got an idea. Just a minute.
All right, deal, my Frenchy.
What's the matter? Afraid to let me play with you? Afraid I'll beat you again?
Well, what do you say, chaps?
Why not? Yes, money. Our money.
I'll untie him. Raise.
Call.
3 tens.
3 aces.
3 aces.
4 deuces.
4 kings.
Straight flush.
Straight flush.
Royal flush.
Oh, he's cheating. He must be. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
Darling, you knocked them all out.
What a mess. My cards all over the room.
Leave them. Let's get out of here. Listen, somebody's coming. Maybe it's the general. Hurry.
Just a minute. I've got to find... there. All right, let's go.
Good evening. Not leaving so soon?
Oh, Sheng Pao. So Mao Tzu found you. A good thing I sent him off to... But wait a minute. How did you know where to find us?
Perhaps if we will go back into...
No, wait a minute. We want to talk to you.
There is no need for me to talk to Miss Jones or to you. You are through. Just hand over the yin seal.
Randolph, he's got a gun.
So you are a double-crosser.
Randolph! There. Goodbye to Hong Kong.
Yes. Goodbye forever.
It will be good to see Virginia again, won't it, darling?
Yes. Although I left under something of a cloud, I suppose they'll give a married man a new chance.
No doubt of it, especially since he's reformed. Lammy, you've never told me, and I haven't asked you, but whatever you did with that seal, I'm glad we don't have it. It would have been wrong to start our married life with dishonesty like that.
Susan...
And now that you are married, there'll be no more fighting, and that means no more poker. And because it's a symbol of the old life, I brought up your pack of cards, and here's an end to it.
No, wait! Susan!
Why, Lammy, what is it? What's the matter? Well, I only threw your old pack of cards overboard. If it means that much, you can always get a new pack.
But you don't understand. In that pack of cards, concealed in the lining of the box, was the yin seal. You've just thrown $50,000 into the ocean.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented The Ambassador of Poker by Ahmed Abdullah, adapted for radio by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Elliot Reed as Randolph C. Fairburn, Lucille Meredith as Susan Jones, Ben Wright as Sheng Pao, Benson Fong as General Kung, and Richard Liu as Mao Tzu. Also heard were John Daner, Ramsey Hill, Bill Conrad, and Rick Vallon. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmar. Next week...
You are standing on an ancient pyramid hidden in the depths of Yucatan. Somewhere beneath your feet lies a sacred shrine with millions in jewels and gold. But from the impenetrable jungle and the fanatic high priests of the Mayas, there can be no escape.
Next week, we escape with the story of a man and woman whose lust for gold led them to dangerous defiance of the laws of a primitive but still powerful cult. As Les Crutchfield and Paul Pierce tell it in The Golden Snake. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week when, once again, we offer you Escape. Everyone wants to give a helping hand to America's crippled children. That's why everyone is buying Easter seals. Money from the sale of these seals helps to carry on the good work of the National Society for Crippled Children and Adults, which conducts an extensive program of education, research, and personal care for the physically handicapped. So, do your part by buying Easter seals. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to Yucatan with a man and woman who dare defy the curse of the ancient priests of Maya to to find a hidden jungle shrine and millions in jewels and gold. As Les Crutchfield and Paul Pierce tell it in The Golden Snake.
It was mid-morning of the fourth day south from New Orleans when the rusty little freighter Caribe Lady dropped a hook a mile off the port of Progreso and the broad-beam tender warped alongside. The port itself and the jungle peninsula of Yucatan beyond lay in steamy lethargy beneath an early blazing tropic sun. I was in a hurry. I wanted customs clearance as quickly as possible for myself and the helicopter I brought with me. Then I wanted a few bottles of that subtly bitter beer that they brew in Monterey. My mysterious employer, Dr. Conrad, was waiting at the Itza Hotel in Merida, 24 miles inland. But in heat like this, he could wait a few hours longer.
I beg your pardon.
Well.
I presume you're Stephen Lane.
Yeah, good presumption, you're right.
Well, I'm Gail Barry.
Hello, Gail.
I'm Dr. Conrad's secretary.
Oh. I begin to see how the jungle might have certain compensations.
Oh, you better slow down, Mr. Lane. You're going pretty fast, even for a pilot.
Helicopter pilot. Not so much on speed, but I do a lot of hovering, especially around green-eyed girls and cold bottles of beer. Would the former like to join me over the ladder?
I hope you can hang on to that sense of humor. You'll need it before this is over.
Before what's over?
A little late for curiosity, isn't it? You've already taken the job.
Yeah, sure. I was flat broke. When that $1,500 check of Conrad's went through the Miami bank like greased lightning, I pulled out my curiosity and cut its throat.
But now it's beginning to revive. Is that it?
I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know this was a state secret.
It isn't. You were hired to fly Dr. Conrad from Merida to a destination within a 200-mile radius and return for a fee of $5,000. What's secret about it?
Purpose of this trip, for one thing.
To visit ancient Mayan ruins buried in the jungle and only accessible by helicopter. Dr. Conrad is an archaeologist.
Must be a fairly profitable racket.
No, there's no profit in it at all.
Oh?
But, Steve, you said you were broke. Would a lot of money interest you? A lot more than $5,000?
How much more?
100 times that much.
Yeah? Yeah, I'd be interested. So?
Check through customs. And let's have that bottle of beer.
We had the beer, all right. But we didn't have any more conversation about money. Gail was beautiful, vivacious, and talkative, but on that subject, she clammed up tight. But at certain times and with certain people, money isn't everything. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon before we took off in the helicopter and flew south to Merida and Dr. Conrad.
You can look down from this balcony, Mr. Lane, and there lies the town of Merida, all silver in the moonlight. And you think it is nothing unusual, perhaps, but the town is Spanish, and beyond it is the jungle. And the jungle is still pure Mayan.
Unconquered, old, and wise. Yeah, I've heard that theory before, Dr. Conrad.
And you disagree with it, perhaps?
I don't know. I've been watching some of the natives around the hotel here this evening, and there is something about their expression or their eyes. I don't know.
Well, I've spent my life studying them, and I do know, Mr. Lane. The Mayans are one of the oldest and strangest races on the face of the earth. The jungle out there swallowed up their pyramids and their temples long ago, and the Spanish conquerors destroyed their records and writings. But they still speak the language, and they still remember. I think it's something in their eyes, as you noticed.
About the trip that we're going on, is it to one of these ruined temples or pyramids?
Yes.
Where?
South and east, more or less, within 200 miles of here. We'll have to follow landmarks.
You've been there before, then?
Yes. There are no trails and no water. Snakes, army ants, fever. Average progress is 2 miles a day.
And I assume that the purpose of the trip is archaeological exploration?
Of course, Mr. Lane. I would have no...
Dr. Conrad, I checked the invoices for the equipment. They're all correct. I left them in your room.
Fine. Thank you, Miss Barry. I'll sign them later.
All right, Dr. Conrad. I'll be in my room if you want me for anything. Good night, Mr. Lane.
Oh, good night, Miss Barry. Look, Dr. Conrad, I think it's about time you told me the real purpose of this trip.
But I did tell you. What makes you think that there was...
Look, $5,000 is too much money for a 3-day flying trip to look over some ruins. So?
Mr. Lane, can you keep your mouth shut?
That depends.
There'll be more in it than $5,000 if it goes all right.
Illegal, I suppose?
No, but dangerous. More dangerous than you can ever imagine.
What kind of danger?
From the Mayans. This involves a violation of the most sacred shrine in their history, the theft of their most sacred object, one they won't even admit exists.
Oh, treasure hunt, huh?
Not a hunt, Mr. Lane. I've seen the object. I know where it is.
Is, Miss Barry in on this?
She's merely the secretary of a scientific expedition. You and I are the only ones who know different.
What about the men who were with you before?
They were interested only in the ruins. They never saw the treasure.
Yeah, but they do know the location of the place.
No, Mr. Lane. Not anymore.
Well, why not?
Because all 4 of them are dead.
Yes. I can also tell you why Dr. Conrad didn't want to talk about it, Steve. It's because of that obsession of his. That fear of the Mayans and their vengeance.
Yeah, but you feel it yourself. You told me earlier.
No. Not fear. Something else. Something deeper. Oh, Steve, please, get out of my room now. If Dr. Conrad found you in here, it would ruin everything.
Honey, look, if I'm going to play games, I've got to know the odds.
But I've already told you Dr. Conrad had nothing to do with their death.
I know. 4 fatal accidents within a year. What kind of accidents?
Different kinds. The first one happened 6 months after the joint expedition. Dr. Bentley and the original pilot took off from Merida and crashed in the jungle 10 miles from town. They were both killed. The native guide got out with a broken leg.
I see.
2 months later, Dr. Pelton started overland through the jungle. A week out of Merida, he was bitten by a snake and died at one of the native Chicle camps.
And the other man?
His name was Dr. Blom. He tried to come north from Guatemala by canoe and was drowned when it capsized.
Oh, by himself, was he?
No. His native guide recovered the body.
Native guide. In every case, there was a Mayan native in at the death, you might say.
Yes. That's what worries Dr. Conrad.
Look, were all of these men trying to get back to that same temple?
I think so.
Because of the treasure?
Probably. They knew they'd found the long-lost temple of Kukulkan, and they knew the legend.
All right. Where do you fit in?
What's the difference, Steve? You don't mind, do you?
Mine? I like it. I also like to know the score.
I'll do better by you than Conrad would. Much better.
All right, baby. I'll buy that. Only there's one thing. Conrad hasn't told this to anybody before. How did you find out?
From my father, Steve. Before he was drowned in the river in Guatemala. My real name, it's Blom.
Yeah, I'd figured. Even though she'd never been to Yucatan before, she'd learned enough Mayan history and legend from her father to worm her way into Conrad's employ. The treasure, whatever it was, belonged to her as much as to Conrad. And given halfway even odds, I'd rather play Gale's game any day in the week and twice on Sundays. I lay in the hammock in my room for an hour, I guess. The lamp out, the moonlight splotching silver patterns through the bamboo slats of the blinds. I smoke one cigarette after another while I try to fit all the pieces into place. I was tired, but I'd had several drinks of Johnny Walker that I'd brought along, and I wasn't asleep, that's for sure. So I don't know why I didn't hear the door open.
Please do not be alarmed, Senor Lane.
What?
Lie still, make no outcry, and listen. You will not be harmed.
For some odd reason, I couldn't move. I couldn't cry out. It took great effort just to turn my head and look at him.
It is our desire to warn you because you are not aware of the thing you dare to do. Dr. Conrad knows, and he deserves no warning.
In the scattered moonlight, I could see very little of his face except the eyes. The eyes of a Mayan. They seem very wise and 1,000 years old, like the eyes of newborn babies.
I say to you once, and only once, go not to the temple of Kukulkan.
There seemed to be a strange music playing far off.
The plumed serpent of gold must lie hidden for 5,000 years, and the time is not yet. To alter the time is to die.
For just an instant, the moonlight shifted, and I saw the golden band around his forehead, raised in the front and fashioned into the feathered head of a snake.
You have been warned, Senor Lane. I go.
Closing of the door seemed to break the spell, and I lunged for the pistol on the table beside my bed. Only it wasn't a bed, it was a hammer. Oh, confound!
Senor Lane! Oh. Senor Lane, is anything wrong?
Oh!
Senor Lane!
Come on in!
I was passing along the hall and heard the noise.
Who are you, anyway?
Rodolfo Moreno. I am the night collector.
Look, did you see the man who came out of my door just before the noise?
What, senor? No one came out.
What?
Well, I was only a few feet away. The hall is well lighted.
But there was someone in here. I saw him. I heard him talking. He was a Mayan.
Senor Lane, sometimes one from the north requires a day or two for becoming accustomed to the tropics. And I must tell you, the beer in Mexico is a little more strong than you may think.
No, wait a minute.
So you sleep now, we talk about it mañana, eh? Buenas noches, senor. Buenas noches.
There wasn't much point in doing anything but follow the night clerk's advice. I couldn't very well go to Conrad and tell him a mysterious Mayan had come to my room to warn me, when the clerk had sworn he'd seen no one. I didn't see how Gail could help much. I didn't want to worry her without some definite reason. So, after a long time, I grew drowsy and fell asleep.
Senor Lane, wake up. It is I, Moreno. Wake up, senor.
All right. Wait a minute. What is it, Moreno? What's wrong?
Your friend, senor. Dr. Conrad. His heart, I think.
What? What do you mean?
Well, I hear him cry out. I go for help, but it was too late, senor. He is dead.
In just a moment, we will return you to the second act of Escape. But first, Molly Goldberg's warm-hearted approach to life has gotten her into mix-ups over and over. But this Saturday night, Molly really shoots the works. Molly and Jake have planned a motor trip to Florida. But when the people who've been invited to ride along get together, Grand Central Station couldn't hold them all. What happens to the trip? Be listening this Saturday night when the Goldbergs bring their warm, rich humor to most of these same CBS stations. And now, for the second act of Escape.
I went with the night clerk to Dr. Conrad's room. Met the local physician who'd been called to the hotel. Told him to go ahead with whatever arrangements were necessary. There seemed nothing else to do. Dr. Conrad had died in his bed, apparently unmolested. His room was undisturbed, and Moreno, who from his desk had a clear view of the length of the hall, said that no one had entered or left. Apparent cause of death, heart failure. But in a room a half hour later, Gail disagreed with such a simple verdict.
There was nothing wrong with his heart, Steve. He died of fright. Sheer fright. I know he did.
All right, honey, all right. But what caused the fright?
The Mayans. Maybe the same one you said came to your room.
No, I'm not sure whether anyone did or not. Maybe the night clerk was right. Maybe I imagined it.
He is a native, you know.
Another Mayan, huh? Well, I could have been dreaming, or drunk. I don't know.
It won't work, Steve. How could you have dreamed up the gold band he wore on his head? The same band worn by the high priest of Kukulkan 1,000 years ago.
I don't know. That's what gets me.
Had you even heard of the plumed serpent of gold before?
No.
Or the 5,000 years of hiding?
No, of course not.
They're all a part of Mayan legend, Steve. You had to learn them somewhere.
Gail, you said Conrad had an obsession. What about you?
I don't know. Before I came to Yucatan, I had only one idea. To get my share of that treasure one way or another. Mayan legends were nothing more than that. But down here, it's different. Things touch you somehow. Inside.
You mean you're scared, isn't that it?
Not exactly. It's something deeper. I don't know.
And against that something deeper, there are how many dollars?
Around 2 million, I think, from things Dr. Conrad let slip.
How did he plan to dispose of them?
There's a buyer in Mexico City, no questions asked. Conrad wanted his name kept out of it.
Made of vengeance again, huh?
Yes.
Look, would this buyer deal with us?
Of course. Why should he care who brings it?
Do you know the landmarks of the pyramid? This temple of Kukulkan?
Yes, but... Steve, I am not sure, but...
Look, honey, look. I've got a helicopter out there at the edge of town. Within 200 miles is a fortune for the taking. Baby, I've been broke too much of my life to back down from a few pipe dreams and a heart attack. How about it, baby, huh?
Oh, it's no fun to be broke.
Yeah, but it might be a lot of fun if we weren't.
You're awfully hard to resist.
Oh, I hope so, baby. Because I've got some other ideas, too, you know. What do you say?
Oh, if I said no, I'd be a fool, I suppose.
Oh, then don't say it. We'll both be over the jitters by morning. And one thing, we won't have to worry about accidents. Our expedition won't have any Mayans along.
Oh, Steve, I told you Dr. Blum was my father. He met my mother in Mexico City. She died right after I was born. But she came originally from Yucatan. And she was a Mayan.
Can you tell now, Gail? Are you sure this is it? We won't land if you're not.
I think so. There's the old stone roadbed in the jungle to the south. The pyramid runs southeast-northwest. The temple ruins are at the north. The jungle has grown up over the west slope. All the landmarks check, Steve. This is it.
All right, honey, hang on. We're going down. The Mayans didn't know it, but when they built these pyramids flat top, they were getting ready for the helicopters. We're down.
It's terribly quiet, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, especially after hearing that egg beater for the last 3 hours. Well, may as well have a look. Come on, jump, baby. I'll give you a hand.
Thanks.
Well, they've certainly let the old place run down.
It's lain here like this for more than 1,000 years, Steve. Full moons and dark moons, rains, lightning, sun and wind. Nothing moving. Only the jungle, growing and growing and creeping up over it.
Hey, now, baby, relax.
We shouldn't have come here at all. We are only interlopers, strangers, not wanted.
Well, maybe they like us better when we're rich, huh?
There's no use joking about it, Steve. I think you feel it, too. We are in some terrible danger here, some kind we've never known before. It's like we're being watched. Only there are no watchers.
Well, not unless you count that parrot there in the lianas.
A parrot. A feathered bird. A feathered snake.
Now, look, Gail, look, we've talked this all out. We're here now. We're going to go through with it. I admit that I feel just as... Well, this morbid talk of yours isn't helping anything.
I'm sorry, Steve. I feel so strange. Oh, it's just nerves. Forget it.
Okay, baby. It's a deal. Come on. Let's go find that cave. Gail had learned from Dr. Conrad that the treasure lay in a chamber inside the pyramid, reached by a tunnel which opened somewhere along the west face. And the length of rope he'd specified in the equipment, we knew about how far down the west face. So we started working our way along at that level. Gail carried the rope, flashlights, and a hacksaw, while I swung a machete against the lush growth of jungle that made every yard of progress a measure of hard work and sweat. It was late afternoon before I slashed through a green thicket of banana palms and saw it before me. Black and forbidding. Framed in hieroglyphic stone was the squat, square mouth of the tunnel. Its floor was paved with bricks velveted in green moss, undertrodden for centuries. A cool draft floated out against the jungle heat, inviting and repelling. Gal and I looked at one another for a long moment, saying nothing. And then, flashlights in hand, we walked into the tunnel. Careful, honey, careful. The ceiling's low in places.
I'm watching, Steve. There may be snakes.
Our boots ought to protect us. Seems to be widening out a little.
I think maybe... Yes. There's a room right ahead, Steve.
Good. Wonder if there's anybody home.
Steve, don't joke, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Here we are.
Oh, it's a big room.
Yeah. I'll say it is, and I wonder where it's...
Steve! Swing your light over there. Look.
On a raised stone dais in the center of the cave, gleaming and glittering in the blaze of our lights, was a great figure wrought in plates of pure gold. A massive golden snake studded and jeweled with feathers of cut emerald.
Steve, it's Kukulkan, the plumed serpent of gold.
$2 million, baby. $3 million is closer, maybe 4. Why, the gold alone and those emeralds.
Let's go now. Now, Steve, before it's too late.
It must weigh a ton. Now I see why Conrad included hacksaws in the equipment. Here, honey, you owe my life.
What are you going to do?
Old money bags has to be cut up before we can pack them out. May as well see how much of a job it'll be.
Steve! No!
Yeah, what's the matter?
There's something here. Something old and wise and powerful. It's watching us. I can feel it.
Oh, now wait, baby. Don't...
Anyway, it's really too late to do anything today. We've seen it now, Steve. Let's leave it just the way it is. Just until tomorrow. It's almost dark now. Please. Please, Steve.
All right, Gal, all right. Come on, let's get out of here. I pitched our camp on the level top of the pyramid, not far from the helicopter. Spread our sleeping bags and built a fire in a pile of stones. It was dark by the time we'd eaten, and a round full moon flooded the ruins and the miles of empty jungle with an eerie light. I lay back and I watched Gail sitting across the fire from me, staring into the strange night, lost in her own thoughts. An odd thing had happened while I was gathering rocks for the fireplace. I'd lifted a large flat stone and found under it a golden band like the one worn by the Mayan who'd come to my room. Gail had put it on her head without a word, and it fit perfectly. She still wore it, and now and then the polished gold caught flashes of light from the fire and from the moon. It was very late when I drifted off to sleep. It must have been a sound that woke me, but I think it was the odor that seeped into my sleep. That was it, the odor. Pungent, aromatic, and for a moment, unidentifiable. And then I came suddenly awake, saw by the fire's embers that Gail's sleeping bag was empty. I sprang to my feet. At the moment, I recognized the odor of raw gasoline. Saw the dark surface of the helicopter glistening and wet in the moonlight, and saw Gail walking toward it with a flaming stalk of dried thatch in her hand. Gail, what are you doing? No, stop it! She paid no attention, stood like a sleepwalker watching the burning plane she'd set afire, the golden band gleaming on her forehead. Then I was running, stumbling headlong toward her. Gail, come back, Gail! She didn't hear me. She moved slowly away, looking towards something that I couldn't see beyond the fire. Nor did I see the vine that caught my foot and sent me crashing onto the sharp rock. I lay there on the ground, unable to move, half blinded by concussion. By the blood that ran into my eyes, I tried to call out again and could make no sound. I could see Gail moving away past the burning plane, swaying as she walked, trance-like and alien. I seemed to hear again the weird music of Merida far off somewhere in the night. And then, in truth or in delirium, In the shadows, past the fire, I saw them. Saw them waiting for Gale. They were clothed in white, and their eyes were Mayan, wise and old and powerful. And on each forehead gleamed a golden band, the high priest of Kukulkan.
Senor, you feel better now, no?
Better? I don't know. Who are you?
Only a poor farmer, senor.
Farmer? Where am I?
In my casa, senor. You have been very ill from a bad wound to the head.
But how did I get here?
3 days ago, you come from the jungle, fell at my door. I take care of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sometimes you fight with me, say crazy words. But I know it is only the head is broken.
I was running. I fell against a rock. I just can't remember much after that.
No matter, senor. Tomorrow I take you to Merida.
To Merida? But how can you?
But so simple. In my cart with the burro. It is only 7 miles.
7 miles? But I was 200 miles from here.
Okay, sorry, senor. 3 days ago you come out from the jungle.
Tell me something. Are you a Mexican?
Pues, senor, I am a citizen of Mexico, but by birth, I am Mayan.
I have flown 5 times since into Yucatan, into the dark lands and the uncharted jungles. I've searched through tumbled ruins, moss-grown, rotted. I built fires on ancient pyramids at night and cried aloud to the silent moon. But never again found the temple of Kukulkan, nor the plumed serpent of gold, or a beautiful girl named Gale. And I know I never will.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented The Golden Snake, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield from an original story by Paul Pierce. Featured in the cast were Anthony Barrett as Steve Lane, Jeanette Nolan as Gail Barry, and John Hoyt as Dr. Conrad. Also heard were Rick Vallon, Harry Bartell, and Paul Freaks. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week...
You are stranded on the Yangtze River, 1,500 miles from Shanghai, and in the midst of all the displaced humanity of China, somehow you have been marked for destruction from which there is no escape.
Next week, we escape with an exciting tale of fear, intrigue, and danger on one of the most colorful rivers of the world, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in The Shanghai Document. CBS famous anti-crime series Gangbusters presents a real-life police story, The Case of the Wise Young Owl, this Saturday night. Remember to be tuned in to CBS, where Arthur Godfrey's Digest of Wit and Humor is heard every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape. Brought to you by the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York and the independent marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the green and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the interior of China and a journey of terror down the Yangtze River from Chongqing to Shanghai,
as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in their gripping story of a people in turmoil, the Shanghai Document.
The Yangtze River is a gray gash through the heart of China, the artery that pulsates day and night with displaced humanity. From Chongqing to Shanghai, it's 1,500 crooked miles through deep gutted gorges. But for those of us who took the steamer downriver in those frantic months just after the war, it was a voyage dominated by fear and intrigue and danger. It started in the saloon of the 10 Golden Pieces over a glass of gin, in the company of the man whose face wore many racial strains, with no pride of ancestry and no hope for his descendants, and no name, as far as I could discover, other than the Eurasian.
The word re-echoes in the marketplace that you desperately seek transportation to Shanghai.
The word is correct. The word is also correct that I'm stranded.
One wonders if you lack money.
No. I lack influence.
One knows of a way to Shanghai.
What? You know of a way?
Have you the courage to attempt the Yangtze in a junk?
Well, at this point, I would consider doing it in a canoe.
One hears of a junk that is obtainable for a price.
Well, how much?
One can always make a deal.
Where is this junk? Can I see it?
It's on the opposite bank of the Kialing at the dock at Tiangpei.
Could I rent it or could I hire it?
You would have to buy it.
Buy it? Well, I couldn't navigate it myself.
I have thought of that. The owner would take you to Shanghai, where you would, in gratitude, return the junk to him as a gift.
Oh, I see. I buy it here and give it back to him at Shanghai. That's a cute wrinkle.
You do not favor the wrinkle?
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. If I can get out of Chongqing, I'm crazy about it. Come on, let's go.
One moment. The money. It must be in American dollar.
Oh, well, of course.
Then, as you say, okay, let's go.
We slogged through the slime of the gutters. The night was misty. The chill wind carried with it the stench of the river. It carried, too, the unforgettable stench of poverty and death. The Eurasian led me down 1,000-stone steps to the waterfront where a sampan ferried us across to the suburb known as Tiangpei. There, at an ill-lit makeshift dock, the Eurasian talked to a wizened coolie while I inspected the junk. Well, what's the matter? What's he saying?
He does not wish to take you.
Oh, well, you can tell him it's okay with me. Junk's a good name for this boat. It's exactly what it is. I wouldn't risk my life in it back in the Arkansas River.
Oh, wait. Where are you going?
Back across the river, Chongqing.
But you are anxious to get to Shanghai.
Not that anxious.
But what about my commission?
Look, I didn't buy the boat, did I?
I've gone to a good deal of trouble for you tonight. You have money?
Look, I'm sorry. I can't help it.
Oh, no. Huh? You don't leave me like
this. Wait a minute.
Lie still.
Huh?
I said lie still.
Who are you? Where is that? Oh, my back. He broke my back.
Your back's not broken. Take your shirt off.
Huh?
I'm a doctor.
Oh, how did I get here?
A dirty man in a white suit brought you.
Yeah, the Eurasian.
He said he found you in the street.
He did, huh? Why? Hey, wait a minute. My money. The money is gone.
Turn over on your side.
No, wait a minute.
Lie face down, please.
Huh?
Now, where does your back hurt?
All over.
Here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about here?
No.
Well, it's nothing, just a pulled ligament.
Oh.
Sprain. I'll get my bag and tape it for you.
You're an American, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Kansas.
No, I'm kidding. So am I. Wichita.
What happened to you tonight? Saloon brawl?
No. I guess I was just a little too anxious to get to Shanghai. I was even considering a leaky junk down the Yangtze.
Why do you want to go to Shanghai?
I'm correspondent. That's where the big story is today.
Well, if you want to go, why don't you take the river steamer?
Oh, that's funny. I've only been trying for months to get a ticket on the thing.
Lie still, please. Now inhale.
All right.
Exhale. Hold it.
Right.
I want this adhesive to be good and tight. You know, I'm taking the boat to Shanghai tomorrow.
You are?
Don't talk, please. I didn't have any trouble getting a ticket.
Yeah, but...
Hold still, please.
Mm-hmm.
If this tape isn't tight, it won't do you any good. Got to have connections in China today. I was lucky. I've been out here 6 years. I know a lot of people. There. Is that too tight?
Well, it's tight.
And that's the way you want it.
Well, feels a lot better.
That'll do the trick, though. You'll have to keep it on at least a week.
Yeah. Well, how much do I owe you, Doc?
Oh. Make it a pack of cigarettes.
Ow, it's pretty high. As a matter of fact, I haven't got quite a full pack, but you can have it. Here.
Thanks.
What do they call you back in Kansas?
Well, in Kansas, they call me Jane Roma. In China, I'm known as Girl Doctor. You know, I was just thinking, if you're really serious about wanting to go to Shanghai...
Serious?
I can get you a ticket on the downriver boat tomorrow.
Well, it's almost impossible to get a ticket. How?
Does it matter how I get it, as long as I get it?
Lady, if you can get me out of Chungking, nothing matters. I'll pay you back in Shanghai.
What's your name?
Tony Daner.
Well, Tony Dana, there'll be a ticket waiting for you at the steamship office tomorrow morning and a little money for traveling expenses.
What? I can't believe it. What are you looking at me so funny for?
You're amazing.
Why?
You're the first man I've ever met who didn't comment on my being both a woman and a doctor.
Oh, well, now, don't get me wrong, Girl Doctor. The combination fascinates me, but what I like most is your ability to pull a steamer ticket out of the hat.
Oh, I have many talents.
Well, let's kick him around.
No. You go to your room and rest. Take care of that back.
Okay, you're the doctor.
But I can tell you this.
What?
I'm glad you're going to Shanghai with me.
The boat was a squat, ugly, gray thing, as dirty as the river she sat in. Already her decks were crawling with discarded bits of humanity, some asleep, some curled around their meager possessions. But in one way, they were all alike. On their faces was the great patience that is so often worn by the have-nots of this world. At the head of the gangplank, a beefy-looking white man was herding us aboard.
Get these people on. How was your ticket? Ticky. Yeah, okay, move along. Okay, you next. Ticket?
Yeah, just a minute. I got it here someplace.
Hurry up. Get it out. I got a schedule to keep. Come on.
Can't you see my hands are full?
2 suitcases. Nobody needs 2 suitcases. Leave one of them behind.
But I need them both.
I said leave one of them behind.
My books are in there.
Then leave the other one. I don't care.
But there's nothing on the ticket that says how much you can carry. Who are you to be pushing me around?
I'm skipper of the scow. Radigan, that's the name. Keep it in mind.
It's just a suitcase.
Listen, I want this river to make money. If I can pick up one paying fare in place of your precious suitcase, I'm for it, see? You got your choice, mister. Either put one suitcase off or I put you off.
Gee, you got a crummy racket.
So I'm a crummy guy. Well, which is it? I'm in a hurry.
Okay. This one.
That's better. Now let's see your ticket. And your passport.
All right, here.
Yeah. Anthony Dana, American. Okay, move along. If this river wasn't so lousy loaded up with foreigners who don't have any business being here, maybe we could move some Chinese.
And that was my introduction to Captain Radigan, skipper of the scow, as obnoxious a personality as I've run into. He considered every Occidental a foreigner except himself. Well, I picked my way across the littered deck, climbing over soldiers and whining children. I was one of the lucky passengers. Mine was a first-class ticket, entitling me to a stateroom, or should I say, to half a stateroom. And I was on my way to it when the Chinese officer stopped me.
See your papers, please.
Well, I just showed my papers to the captain.
See your papers, your passport, everything.
What is this? Everybody wants to look at my papers. Who are you, anyway?
I am Lieutenant Chen. Will you show me your papers, or shall we create unfortunate incident for you?
Oh, for Pete's sake. All right, here you are.
That is better. It says here your name is Anthony Dene. You are American citizen. Your occupation is correspondent.
Yeah, look, I know what it says. You don't have to read it to me.
Papers are in order.
Well, I could have told you that.
The matter is closed. Paper in order. You may proceed to your stateroom.
Thanks.
Hello there.
Hello. Well, I guess we're roommates. I'm Daner.
Oh, I am? I mean you are? Well, I'm Vickers. Come in. Welcome, my friend.
Thanks.
Yes. You know, I've just been wondering what sort of a chap I'd draw to bunk with.
Oh?
Of course, I don't mind, you understand. When I'm out in the field, a missionary gets conditioned, if you know what I mean. I mean conditioned, what? A stable, a bit of straw, bare ground. But indoors, I remember I'm an Englishman. I like comfort, you know, pleasant company.
Well, I hope you like cockroaches because they've got us outnumbered.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Well, cockroaches and I are old friends. I say, look here. Why don't you stow your gear and come up on deck? You know, it's quite something to see when Ratigan starts his old steamer downriver. You would think it was the Queen Mary. You would really. All the ceremony he puts into it.
I wouldn't watch Ratigan launch a rocket to the moon.
Well, that's not likely, you know. I mean, what happened? The old sea dog get your back up or something?
Well, he made me leave a suitcase behind. It was full of books I've been years collecting.
Well, that sounds like him. Are you coming?
No, you go ahead, Vickers. I'll see you later.
Yes, right you are.
As I unpacked what I needed for the trip, I could feel the old boat gather all her strength together and move, groaning into the deep water channel, and I forgot about my lost books. I was on the Yangtze, on my way at last to Shanghai. On my way to the big story, and I felt a curious kind of thrill. I was part of China on the move. The cabin was close and stuffy. I went up on deck to get some air. I was kind of hoping to run into Girl Doctor. Then I saw her standing at the prow of the boat, talking animatedly with my roommate, the missionary.
Ah, there you are, Dana. Glad you came up. Come on over and meet a charming fellow passenger. Dr. Roma, may I present Mr. Dana?
How do you do? Dana, did you say? It's an odd name. Have you been in China long?
Well, wait a minute.
He's an American, you know. One of your countrymen, Dr. Roma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kansas.
Oh, is that so?
I say, we're lucky, aren't we, Dana? Having such a beautiful doctor aboard, huh? It might make it worth a man's while to be ill or something, eh?
Well, I hope that won't happen. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have some unpacking to do. Awfully nice to have met you, Mr.
Daner.
Oh, yes. I'll see you later, Miss Vickers.
She smiled at me like you smile at a stranger you've just met. There was no sign at all of recognition. And from then on, she avoided me. Well, at first, it made me a little sore. My male ego was wounded, I guess. I thought she'd gotten me a ticket because she wanted to see me again. Now I wondered, why had she gotten it? There was something wrong with this whole business. We were scheduled to tie up at Yichang overnight, and I was looking forward to breaking up the trip by night ashore. I was on my way to my stateroom to get my bag. Girl Doctor. Dr. Roma. It's Tony Daner. What's wrong?
Go away.
No, I'm coming in.
Please.
What's the matter? What's happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened.
You always wear your hair mussed like that, your blouse ripped, and your luggage, that's the way you like it, I suppose, dumped, sprawled all over the room?
It's none of your affair, Tony. Keep out of it.
Look, you're going to tell me what's going on
Please,
anyway?
keep out of it.
No, you're scared. You need help.
Just get out and leave me alone.
All right, maybe Captain Ratigan knows the answer.
No, wait a minute, Tony.
What?
All right. I came into my stateroom. It was dark, but I could tell there was somebody in here. Then he grabbed me. I tried to fight away from him. I screamed, but he got out. I turned on the light.
Who was it?
I don't know. A soldier, I think. A Chinese soldier.
Well, what was he looking for? What are you carrying? The crown jewel?
It isn't funny, Tony. They're after the Shanghai document. But they didn't get it, not this time.
The Shanghai document? What's that?
Just a piece of paper. But it might hold the destiny of China.
Oh, in what way?
A new leader has been found in the west of China, but only a few trusted people know his identity. A man who very possibly could unite his people, lead them out of war. I don't have to tell you what that means to China, Tony. The document contains his name, his plan of action, and his written acceptance of the great responsibility, and it must get into the right hands in Shanghai.
And if it doesn't?
A lot of heads will fall. And China will have lost a chance for peace.
And you're the messenger, huh? Why?
I'm a sympathizer. I was chosen because I'm an American. We thought they wouldn't suspect an American.
Well, Ratigan's an American. I'm an American. Why pick on... Oh, hey, wait a minute. And that's the reason you got my ticket for me. That's why you've been giving me the wide berth. You were using me as a decoy in case they got wise.
I'm sorry, Tony. But you did want to get to Shanghai.
Yeah, but with one stipulation. I'd like to get there alive.
Attention, motorist. Petroleum chemists have discovered new super-octane gasoline components of great importance to you. And one of the highest octane components ever discovered is xylene. Now listen to this. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Xylene helps give Richfield gasoline that high anti-knock performance, that eager response in traffic, that smooth, surging power that turns mountains into molehills. What's more, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit the power requirements of your motor. Select Richfield Ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors, or Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Each Richfield brand is tops in its class. Don't waste gasoline, don't waste money. Let the Richfield dealer help you select the right Richfield gasoline for your car. And remember, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene, one of the highest octane components ever discovered. And now, we return you to Escape.
I didn't see Girl Doctor as the boat tied up at Ichang, but I worried about her plenty. Girl has no business carrying a thing as explosive as the Shanghai Document. Now that she dragged me into it to confuse whoever was after it, I was a little jumpy myself.
Mr. Dana?
Huh? Oh, Lieutenant Chen.
You are planning to go ashore?
Yeah, that was my plan. Why?
Very dangerous for Americans to be alone in China nowadays. Many bandits, thieves.
Yeah, I know, but I hope it won't throw Army regulations in an uproar if I go ashore anyway.
Sorry, your business, merely suggestion.
Yeah, well, thanks. See you around, Chen.
Hey, Dana! Where do you think you're going?
Sure, do you mind?
Matter of fact, I do. When I start out with a boatload of people, I like to deliver them. I don't like no trouble, and your going ashore is just asking for it.
Are you trying to tell me I can't go ashore, Captain Radigan?
Look, sweetheart, the only thing I'm trying to tell you is watch your step.
So you've told me. I've been warned. Now I'd like to get going.
Okay, bilgehead. It's your neck.
Oh, I say Dana.
Oh,
Dana.
Here we go again.
Are you going ashore?
And what's your objection, Vickers?
Objection?
Yeah.
Well, I don't get it, old boy. I was going ashore myself, and I thought we might make a party of it. You know I speak the dialect, and I thought it might come in handy.
Well, I thought for a minute...
You thought what?
Oh, never mind. Come on.
You know, the last time I was in Ichang, there was a very nice hotel. Let's try it. That is, of course, if it hasn't been bombed. What? Oh, the proprietor, a Chinese, very good friend of mine, serves the most...
Vickers, wait a minute. What's that?
What's what? Where?
There at the foot of the gangplank, a whole platoon of soldiers.
Oh, they're probably on the lookout for a deserter.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's get off the boat.
Yes. Oh, I say, look, they're going to stop us.
Your passport, please.
Certainly. Right here.
Oh, passport in order. Proceed.
Oh, thanks awfully.
And I see your passport?
Look, I've been checked and double-checked.
You better do as he says, old boy.
Okay, here.
It's messy, this red tape. Necessary, I suppose, but sometimes I do think they overdo it.
Oh, your passport not in order.
Not in order?
No, please, better you come with me.
Well, wait a minute, where to? What for?
Impossible, proceed to Shanghai. Papers not clarified.
What are you talking about?
But I say, who can't take him off the boat like this?
Oh, you know. Passport not in order. Complete.
He took me to a command car which drove me to field headquarters on the hills above Ichang. No matter what I said to him, no matter how much I argued, all I got out of him was passport not in order. Well, they gave me a place to sleep and something to eat and a couple of guards to watch me. The river steamer was scheduled to leave Ichang at dawn. I was hoping they'd release me by then, but the dawn slipped in and the steamer slipped out. And I heard it in the distance, the whistle. I felt sunk. How was I to explain to these guys that I was just a decoy? They'd picked off the wrong American, that the thing they wanted, the Shanghai Document, was on its way down the Yangtze. And I heard them coming down the hall. I didn't know what I was in for, but I braced myself. At least I'd go down fighting.
Mr. Dana.
Yeah?
Passport is in order. Can go now.
Go? Now you tell me. Look, did you hear that whistle? The steamer's gone. How do I get to Shanghai now? Swim?
1,000 apologies for ignorant mistake. American passport, very confusing.
Yeah, sure, but what do I do now?
Please come with me. I've made arrangements.
I was apologized to in several dialects. Then I got back into the command car and was driven down past the river landing to a secluded spot where a sampan tended by 2 coolies was waiting. I was politely but forcibly put aboard. I turned around to protest, but it was too late. The coolies had pulled the sampan away from shore into the center of the river, and Back on shore, the Chinese officer was smiling broadly. Well, anyway, I was on my way to Shanghai again. And I sat back to smoke a cigarette, but I was out of matches, and I nudged the coolie in front of me. Hey, you, catch him, matchy, you know?
Certainly, Mr. Dana. Huh? Here you are. May I light it for you?
Lieutenant Chen, what are you doing on this sampan?
I also have missed the boat.
Yeah, but well, why the coolie outfit?
It's not safe for lone soldier to travel by himself. I am, as you Americans say, coming along for the ride.
You know what I think, Chen? I think I'm the one that's being taken for a ride. I couldn't understand it. If they had thought I had the document, why hadn't they searched me? Why did they let me go? Why was Chen on my tail? I decided to find out just how much of a watchdog Chen was. We'd been on the river all day, and it was just getting dark when we pulled up at a rickety bamboo landing. Chen was singing as he helped the coolie repair a sail. They weren't paying any attention to me. I crawled silently off the boat onto the dock.
Mr. Dana, I should regret to have to kill you before we reach Shanghai. Come back in boat, please.
Well, you can't blame the guy for trying.
If you are wise, you will not try again.
We passed Nanking, turned off the Yangtze into the Yunho Canal. Chen never seemed to sleep. He watched me constantly. But as he and the other coolie maneuvered the sampan into Suchow Creek on the Shanghai waterfront, I realized that I had one final chance. It was dusk. The creek was filled with a floating city, thousands of sampans, each with their family washings flying aloft, their babies, their suppers cooking. They were on either side of us, within scraping distance. And suddenly I leaped across the one on the left.
Mr. Dana, stop!
He wouldn't dare shoot in such a crowded place. He couldn't hope to hit me, but he jumped across, and I was already on the next sampan, and jumping from sampan to sampan, I zigzagged my way to the bank and lunged into the crowded, filthy waterfront of Shanghai. I looked back once. I couldn't see Lieutenant Chen anywhere. I'd lost him. I took a deep breath. I felt free, safe from the crowd. And then I saw him. Not 10 feet away, Captain Radigan, and with him 2 huge Mongolians.
Dana! Don't try to get away, Dana! Come back!
I moved fast, elbowing my way through the matted humanity, and ran down the bund like the devil himself was after me. And I finally stopped, out of breath, in a cluttered back alley. It was dark. Radigan was no place to be seen. Neither were the Mongolians. I was quite alone. Well, I had one friend in Shanghai, Vickers, the missionary. He'd given me his address. I found a rickshaw driver who knew where it was, and he took me there. It was one of those old Chinese dwellings with a high wall around it. I knocked at the gate, but nobody answered. And I opened the gate, walked into the garden.
Well, it's about time you showed up, Dana.
Radigan.
We've been waiting a long time for you.
Radigan, what are you... It took me a minute to recognize the smell of the cloth on my face. Chloroform.
How do you feel?
Huh? Oh, you again.
Don't try to get up, and don't yell. This is a hospital. You'll disturb the other patients.
A hospital? Why is it every time I come to, you're there? What do? Follow your patients around?
I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah, sure.
You were going to see Vickers. We couldn't let you do that. Captain Radigan.
Yeah, Doctor.
Give me a hand, will you?
Oh, no, get away from me. Hey, what are you going to...
Now, come on, Dana. Up, sit on your stomach.
Hey, let me go.
Just relax, Tony. Time for your bandage to come off.
No!
Thanks a lot, Tony Dana.
That adhesive tape, you want to pull the skin off my back? What do you think What do you say?
I said thanks a lot. For carrying the Shanghai document through safely.
The document?
Mm-hmm. It was on your back under the adhesive tape. I put it there back in Chongqing.
You did? Then Radigan?
Radigan and Lieutenant Chen and the soldiers who took you off the boat were all working under orders. Protecting you.
Yeah, well, I ran away from them. I thought that they were...
You sure gave us a bum time.
Well, what do you want me to do? Apologize?
Oh, Tony, please. We treated you badly, I know, but we couldn't let you go to Vickers.
Vickers, the missionary?
Anyone can wear his collar backwards. Vickers was the one who was after the document. We had to get you off the boat and away from him before he discovered that I didn't have it.
Oh, Vickers, huh?
Mm-hmm. Tony, I hope you know you've done a great thing for China.
Yeah. Well, now that I've done so much for China, suppose you do something for me.
Well, anything.
Okay. Get dressed up. Let's go out in the town and have dinner.
Oh, Tony, we'd love it. We can meet you in an hour.
We?
My husband and I. Jerry.
Your husband?
You'll love him, Tony. He's a wonderful guy. He's from Kansas, too.
This is the age of science, an age in which science has made vast strides in medicine, in nuclear energy, and in the field of petroleum chemistry. For example, petroleum chemists have discovered new super-octane gasoline components of great importance to every motorist. And one of the highest octane components ever discovered is xylene. Now, listen to this. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. The xylene component of Richfield gasoline helps give your car that high anti-knock performance, that extra zip in traffic, that velvet smoothness under the hood. Try Richfield gasoline with xylene. Take your choice of Richfield high octane at regular price for the average motor, or Richfield ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline containing xylene tomorrow. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson and has tonight presented Shanghai Document by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were John Daner as Tony, Joan Banks as Dr. Jane Roma, Ben Wright as Vickers and the Eurasian, Bill Conrad as Rattigan, Benson Fong as Lieutenant Chen, Charles Lung as the officer, and Paul Frees as the voice of Escape. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You were on a small launch off the California coast, about to dive 20 feet below the surface to reach a man's body and to recover an object identifying his murderer, who's standing at your side and from whom there is no escape.
Next week at the same time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with the story of a man who stumbled onto what seemed the easiest way in the world to make $1 million. As H.V. Dixon tells it in his exciting new book, Something for Nothing. Be listening. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape. Brought to you by the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York and the independent marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to a small town on the California coast, behind whose scenes exists a world of terror, blackmail, and death. As H.V. Dixon tells it in his exciting new novel, Something for Nothing.
The moon wasn't up yet. It was after 9 and as dark as my pocket, and I was still 100 miles below San Francisco.
The coast route is tricky driving, too. The road dips and curves like a squirming snake, smack up against the mountains on one side, and on the other, a sheer long drop to the sea. Thought I was driving north, and I had the inside lane, which wasn't so bad. I kept bowling right along. And then about 3 miles below Bayside, I was going into a sharp curve to the right when beyond it, coming toward me, the lights of another car flared up, a big cream-colored sedan on the wrong side of the road bearing down on me. I slammed on my brakes and skidded sideways. The other car barely skimmed past, and I saw a woman hanging halfway out the door on the driver's side looking scared to death. She didn't even try to make the turn. Our car went straight for the lip of the cliff, and just as it went over, the woman jumped. And the car went smashing down the face of the cliff, easy, a 200-foot drop all the way to the ocean.
Hey! Hey, are you all right?
Maybe she slid over.
Hey there!
Oh,
What? Where are you?
don't bother.
Oh, there you are.
I'm all right.
Here, hold on. Don't fall over the edge now.
I'm a little shaky.
There we go.
I didn't see your car not till the last second.
Look, lady, I didn't run you off the road. You were way over on my side.
Oh, I didn't mean it was your fault. My brakes failed. I was coming down the grade. I guess I lost my head.
You could have made it all right without brakes. You weren't going very fast.
Oh.
I can't see your car down there.
It's probably underwater.
Might have landed on the rocks, huh?
No, I heard it splash.
Can I drive you anywhere? I wasn't going your way.
Oh, that's all right. I'll go back to Bayside. I was going to see some friends down the road, but I don't feel like seeing them now. You can drop me in town.
Fine. I'd be glad to.
Oh.
Well, you're pretty wobbly. Here, let me help you.
It was a shock, I guess.
That was a close one. Wait a minute.
Hmm?
There wasn't anybody else in that car, was there?
No, I was alone.
You live in Bayside?
Yes.
I might stop off there tonight, overnight.
Well, you couldn't possibly find a room tonight. The tourist season started.
Well, I might find something in a motel.
Oh, I'm sure everything's full up, and it's easy driving beyond Bayside. No more mountains if you're going to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Do you live in San Francisco?
Oh, I did when I was a kid. Lately, I've been living in L.A. I've been working in pictures.
Oh.
For a while, I thought I'd be another Clark Gable or a Robert Taylor or something. Every agent in town was after me, but you know how it is. It didn't pan out.
Why not? You're handsome.
Oh, sure. Too handsome. I photographed too slick. I saw I'd never be anything but third rate, so I got out.
Yes, I suppose that's sensible.
Well, welcome Bayside city limits. Now, where do I take you?
Straight ahead.
Huh?
This is Surf Avenue. It'll take you through the main highway.
Well, where do you live?
Oh, you don't have to take me there. Stop here.
Well, why here?
I'm going to the police station to report the accident.
Well, don't you want me to go along and be a witness?
Oh, no, I'm sure that isn't necessary. Have a nice trip to San Francisco.
Thanks.
You are going right through, aren't you?
I guess so.
Well, you'll be there in 2 hours.
Yes, I know.
Yes, well, thanks again, and goodbye.
There was something funny about that dame. Something was worrying her besides that accident. The way she acted toward me, for instance. All she cared about was getting me out of town fast. So, naturally, I decided to stay a while to find out why. I found a room without any trouble at all, and then I walked around Bayside. I liked what I saw. The cars, the stores, the way the women were dressed. Yeah, Bayside was loaded with money. And then sometime after midnight, I dropped into a bar. One of the customers was yawking away to the bartender. I ordered scotch over ice and listened in.
She phoned the station about an hour ago and said Frank wasn't the type to go somewhere and not let her know.
That was the customer, a big moon-faced man with a red neck who had cop written all over him.
Didn't sooner or later bust loose. What do you know? Frank's going off out of there.
Well, I told her we'd check around.
Hey, she say Frank was driving that cream-colored job of his?
My heart jumped like a hooked trout.
He sure can't disappear far in that car.
It was hard to keep the excitement out of my voice. Pardon me, but what color car did you say?
Huh?
Well, I just drove in from L.A. and I passed a cream-colored sedan a few miles back.
You couldn't miss this one. Darndest color you ever saw.
Huh?
The ornament on the hood is a big pair of dice.
Well, the one I saw, a woman was driving.
No, Frank never lets anyone drive his car.
Well, Gassner doesn't know how to drive, does she?
Oh, sure she does, Chief. She just got a new convertible, only, she doesn't go out much.
She doesn't drink, doesn't wear makeup, doesn't do anything much, and she sure is a mousy woman. She went to bed tonight at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Tell me, who is this Gassner?
Well, he owns this bar, a couple of restaurants, and he owns a Domino Cottage. He calls it a dude ranch, but it's really a gambling house.
Oh, an important man, huh?
Yeah, he is. And he isn't. He's got money, but a gambler doesn't rate with the local snobs.
Oh, Bayside's one of those towns.
Cream de la cream, mister.
Some of the oldest families in California live here.
So money doesn't count.
Not without a pedigree, mister. It sure don't.
But money counts with me, especially easy money. To get something for nothing, that's the sweetest thing in life. Well, I finished my drink and went to the phone booth. First, I looked up Frank Gassner's address, 16 Yucca Drive, and I wrote it down. Then I put through a long-distance call to my pal Danny in San Francisco. He said he'd meet me in Bayside in a couple of days. When I left the phone booth, the redneck cop had left, and the bartender was getting ready to close up. I decided not to wait till morning to drop in at 16 Yucca Drive, so I paid the bartender and was halfway through the door when it jarred me having somebody know my name in that town that particular night. I turned around fast.
Gil Devon.
What?
Oh, what's your hurry, Gil? Don't you want to buy me a drink?
I don't know you from Adam, baby.
Well, I know you. I know your name, rank, and serial number.
Oh, I dropped that identification bracelet again, huh?
In the phone booth. I went in right after you. Here you are.
Thank you. The catch keeps coming open all the time.
You ought to have it fixed.
Yeah, I guess so. But every time I lose it, it gets back to me somehow.
Well, how about my reward?
Oh? Like what?
We could start with a drink.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd love to, but I've got a date.
That hardly comes as a surprise with shoulders like yours. Now, what does she have that I don't have?
Only one thing, sweetheart, and it's not beauty. But what she has, there's no substitute for. Hello, Mrs. Gassner. You forgot to lock the front door.
Why didn't you go to San Francisco?
Well, when I get a feeling I'm not wanted, that's when I stick around to find out why.
There was no reason for you to feel that way.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Is there anybody else in the house?
No, I sent the maid home for the night.
Oh, that's good. That's real good. I just heard a couple of chatty men in a bar talking about a husband who hadn't come home and a wife who'd gone to bed at 9 o'clock.
I don't see why you've come here to tell me that.
Stop stalling. The husband's name was Frank Gassner, and you're the wife. And at 9:30, you were out on the highway driving his car over the cliff. I saw it go over, remember?
If I give you $2,000, will you leave town?
You don't think I'd let a thing like this go for $2,000?
But I shouldn't pay you anything at all. I haven't done anything.
So you'll pay me $2,000 for nothing?
Well, these circumstances are peculiar.
Yeah, I'll say they are. Your husband was in that car. You murdered him.
Oh. Well, how much money do you want?
No, later. First, tell me about it. Everything. Well, come on, give. How did you kill him?
I heard him drive into the garage, but he didn't come into the house. I found him asleep in the car. He'd been drinking.
Passed out cold?
Yes, he often did that. I'd been waiting for a chance to kill him. So I started the car and closed all the windows and ran a hose from the exhaust pipe in close to his face. When I went out later, he was dead.
Oh, carbon monoxide.
I knew it might not look like an accident because he was too drunk to have closed the garage doors. So I drove down the highway and... Well, you know the rest.
You had it all figured out, didn't you? You'd wait for a truck driver, a woman in distress. He'd pick you up, drop you off near home. Truck drivers always stick to their schedule, so he'd keep right on going, fast, no time for questions. But instead of one of those knights of the road, I came along.
Yes, you came along. How much money do you want?
Oh, you can't pay me off. Not with cash.
I'll give you $10,000 and not a cent more.
You what? Don't tell me what you'll do or what you won't do. From now on, you'll do what I say.
But you can't prove anything.
Shall I phone the police?
You saw the car go over the cliff, but you can't prove I was there. It's your word against mine.
And you think they'll take yours? Well, they might, seeing that I'm a stranger, except for one thing. You didn't have a purse when I picked you up on the road.
No. No, it's in the car. I forgot. It has my initials on it. Oh, please, I must get it back. Can you get it, please, please?
The car's probably underwater.
No, please.
Well, I'll rent a plane and fly down there, and look, probably have to use a boat to get to the car.
Try. As soon as you can. Tomorrow?
That's a little too soon.
No, please, before someone sees the car.
Just a minute, Mrs. Gassner. First, you and I have to come to a little understanding.
Oh, anything. I'll give you anything.
You mean everything, don't you, Belle?
What is xylene? A petroleum chemist will tell you that xylene is one of the highest octane components of gasoline known to science. But here's what's important to you. Xylene is contained in every gallon of Richfield gasoline. Let me repeat that. Xylene, one of the highest octane components known to petroleum science, is contained in every gallon of Richfield gasoline. Xylene helps give Richfield gasoline that full power wallop that jumps you out ahead in traffic. That smooth, surging power that eats up the miles and levels off the hills. Furthermore, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit the power requirements of your motor. Select Richfield Ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors, or Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Each Richfield brand is tops in its class. Don't waste gasoline. Don't waste money. Let the Richfield dealer help you select the right gasoline for your car. Remember, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene, one of the highest octane components known to petroleum science. And now we return you to Escape.
That was going to be a gold mine. For a start, Belle Gassner went to the bank next day and got me $10,000 cash. Then she made out a power of attorney for me. The next afternoon, I flew down the coast on a rented plane and spotted the car wedged into the rocks, right side up, under 20 feet of water. The next day, Belle and I went down in a cabin cruiser and dropped anchor as close to the rocks as we dared. Let the anchor out all the way there.
Well, it's hit bottom.
All right, now take a hitch in the line.
Okay.
That's it. There's no drag now.
Oh, you can't even see the highway from here.
No, but if somebody sees us, they'll think we're fishing.
Well, how are you going to do it?
Well, I'll tie a rope around myself. You hold on to the rope so the surf doesn't bang me into those rocks.
All right.
Wait a minute. Maybe we should swim over to that big rock there and try from there.
But I can't swim.
No. Well, I'll swim over and pull you across.
Oh, no, I'm terribly afraid of water.
All right. I'll try from here then. But you hang on to that rope, you understand?
Yeah.
If anything happens to me, baby, then you're really in trouble. I fastened the rope around my waist, then I waited for a backwash of surf, took a deep breath, and dove. My dive carried me down to the top of the car, and I hooked my arm through the front window and held myself against the force of the current. And then I looked in. It was a world of greenish twilight, but I could see everything. Frank Gassner's body was floating against the ceiling of the car, his arms and legs waving in the current, his coat flapping as if it were in a breeze. I looked away from the body and tried to find the purse. I hung onto the steering wheel and finally saw it on the floor, held on by the weight of the flashlight. When I went after it, the body brushed against me in a kind of a caress. I grabbed the purse, shoved myself out of the car, and struggled to the surface, and clambered aboard.
You've got it. Oh, thank heaven.
Of all the fool women,
You would leave something like this in the car.
Well, I guess we should start back.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Now that you got my purse back, there's no way to prove I was in Frank's car. Doesn't that worry you?
Not a bit, baby.
I might refuse to go through with our deal. I might revoke that power of attorney.
No, you won't. I still hold some aces, Belle. That night I started playing those aces. Belle Gassner had never known a man like me, only a husband that she'd hated. All I had to do was make one move, and she fell as hard as any of the rest of them. And having her crazy about me was the best way to keep her in line, better than any threats. I didn't have to worry about Belle Gassner. Not anymore. And now I had the world by the tail on a downhill pull. When I got back to the Bayview Lodge later that night, Danny was waiting for me.
So? What's the pitch, Gil?
Ever hear of a character named Frank Gassner?
Yeah, sure. Had a place in Reno once. Last I heard, he had a gambling joint here. Why, you working for him?
No, his wife.
Huh?
Gassner's missing. He took a powder, met with an accident nobody knows yet. So she's appointed me manager of the whole works with power of attorney. I want you to front for me, Danny.
Why do you want to front?
Well, I don't want to be known as a gambler. This is my big chance to live first class. I want everything that goes with it. Maybe I'll even join the racket club. Go social.
Yeah, you always did have big ideas, Gil. How long is this going to last?
Well, long enough.
Well, suppose this Gassner shows up someday.
He won't. Now, wait a minute, Danny. My hands are clean. I didn't do him, and I know what happened to him, but I'm the only one who knows.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, Gil. Okay, I'll play along.
A week later, Belle introduced me around, and I took over. Danny did most of my work, and I began living high. I even bought a brand new plane, a beautiful low-wing four-place job. And I took Belle up the first day. You know, flying's the only time I'm really myself, Belle. There's nothing like it.
I know a little about it.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh. I took lessons for a while. Frank was going to buy a plane.
Well, how many hours do you have?
Oh, almost 20.
Oh, then you're solo, huh?
I wasn't very good. Just never could get the hang of it.
Well, come on, try it. Take over.
No.
Oh, come on.
You think I can?
Why, sure, it's a cinch.
Well.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, that's very good. Now, try a turn to the left. Huh? Oh, no, not too steep. There we go. You got the feel of it?
Oh, it's fine. It's wonderful.
Yeah, sure it is. You must have had a bad instructor. But now, baby, you've got me. The money began rolling in. I bought a bachelor house on the beach. I joined the racket club. It seemed like there was no end to the good things I'd heard about and never known. Yet, slowly, little by little, a sour note crept in. Belle began to get on my nerves. She was so possessive, I began to hate the sight of her. One night at the racket club, she was dancing with someone, and I was having a drink at the bar.
Hello there, Gil Devon.
What? Well, hello.
I just knew those shoulders went with that handsome face. Are you tied up tonight, or can you buy me that drink?
Sure I can. Tell me, why haven't I seen you around since the first time?
I've been to Europe since then. I'll be here for a few weeks, though. Then I'm going to New York for the winter.
Oh, I thought this was your home.
It's one of them. Daddy's got 4 houses scattered around the country.
Oh.
Look, never mind the drink. Let's go outside.
Sure. You've got an edge on me. I don't know your name.
Allison Price.
You know something? Here's something I've always imagined would happen to me.
Really? You didn't seem to think so that first night.
No, well, I had something else on my mind, something that had to come first so that you could happen.
And, what was that?
Money. A girl like you can only come along when The man's got money to burn. And on the way home that night, I was in real trouble.
Where were you? I saw you leave with Ellison Price.
I told you, Belle, we were outside talking.
I warn you, Gil. If you ever think of leaving me, I'll go to the police and tell them we both killed Frank, and I mean it, Gil.
Oh, calm down, Belle. I'm not interested in that Price girl.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. As soon as you're legally a widow, we'll get married. That's a promise, Belle. I felt like a steel trap had closed on me. Yeah, Belle was dangerous. She had to be handled right. I planned everything down to the last detail and then waited until one night pretty late. Yeah,
Gil, they found him.
What are you talking about? Found who?
Gassner. Gassner's body's been found. The car's down the road a ways at the bottom of a cliff. Somebody spotted it from the air.
It must have been an accident.
Yeah. Look, should I call Mrs. Gassner? Chief Arnold's not going to tell her till he's poked around.
No, Danny. I'll call her. Thanks for letting me know. Hello, Belle.
I'm so glad you called, darling. I was just going to bed.
Well, you're not going to bed now. You're going to leave town.
Why,
I can't tell you why over the telephone. I'll pick you up in 10 minutes.
All right, darling.
No. Wait a minute. You better take your car. Pack a bag and drive out to the airport. Don't let anyone see you. I'll meet you there. They found Frank last night. Danny called.
Oh, is that all? Well, what a relief. I couldn't imagine
Wait a
why
minute, Belle. Danny says that Arnold's already figured out from the wreckage that Gassner wasn't driving the car.
That doesn't mean they'll suspect me.
And the autopsy shows that he was dead a long time before the car went over the cliff. They know it was carbon monoxide.
No.
And somebody on your street saw you walking home that night.
Then Chief Arnold knows I was lying. Oh, what'll I do?
That's why I asked you to meet me out here. You can take my plane.
But I'm no pilot, Gil.
You can do it, dear. You can fly up the coast past Frisco across the state line to Medford, Oregon.
What shall I do there?
Stay there. You'll be out of the state. Then when I straighten things out, you can come back.
But I can't do...
It's the only thing to do, Belle. Now, trust me, darling. It was barely dawn, and there wasn't a soul around. Belle stayed in her car while I got the plane ready. I rolled it out of the hangar and parked it just over a water drain, and then I opened the valves to the gasoline tanks and let almost all of it drain out, so she'd have only enough fuel for 15 minutes of flight. I rolled the plane out on the runway and got it warmed up, and then Belle ran across, and I helped her climb in. Now, just follow this course I marked there.
Yes?
Stay over the ocean at least an hour.
Why, Gil?
Well, I don't want you spotted. It's safer that way. This engine runs like a wristwatch.
All right, darling. Oh, Gil.
Oh, you're okay, honey. Don't worry about it. Now, depend on me. Now, don't start crying, dear. You have to get out of here.
Gil?
Goodbye, darling. She took off to the west and then flew northwest over the ocean. What a trusting fool she was. When I looked at my wristwatch driving back to town, it was 18 minutes since the plane took off. By then, it was down somewhere in the ocean out of gas. It would sink at once, and Belle couldn't swim. Well, it wasn't such a terrible way to die. And Chief Arnold would figure it this way. Belle had heard that Frank's body was found. She lost her head and ran because she had murdered him. Case closed. It was a nice day. Nice day to take Allison swimming. Or for a drive up the beach. When I got to town, nothing was open yet except the drugstore, so I stopped and bought a paper. Folded it under my arm and started back to my car. And then I spotted Chief Arnold coming toward me, grinning like an ape. I wondered what was on the old fathead's mind.
Hey, Mr. Devon.
What?
Oh, there.
Well, hello, Chief. You look happy about something.
Gil Devon. I arrest you for the murder of Frank Gassner.
What? Are you nuts? What gives you the idea that I had anything?
Ever seen this before, Devon?
Sure. That's my Army identification bracelet. I haven't seen it for weeks. I'm always losing it.
And it's handy for us cops that you do. This time you lost it in Frank Gassner's car. Say, isn't that Allison Price? Well, I'll be darned. She's got under your skin, too.
Shut up. Shut up, you flatfoot.
Here. Come here. I want to talk to you.
Oh, beautiful girl. And so near.
So near.
And yet so far.
Say, here's a real spring tonic for baseball fans. A new 32-page baseball book just off the press. Packed full of tips and information on America's favorite sport. Where can you get it? At the Richfield Gasoline Dealer Station. And this new Richfield baseball book is absolutely free. It contains Major League and many minor league schedules, World Series box scores, and Major League standings, baseball questions and answers, seating diagrams of 16 baseball stadiums. This new, colorful Richfield baseball book is a goldmine of baseball lore you won't want to miss. A storehouse of fascinating information that fits right in your pocket. And remember, it's absolutely free. Ask your Richfield gasoline dealer for your copy tomorrow. And while you're about it, ask him about Richfield All-Point Safety Service, the complete scientific lubrication service and safety checkup that prepares your car for the warm weather ahead. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson and has tonight presented Something for Nothing by H.V. Dixon, adapted for radio by Sylvia Richards. Featured in the cast were Bill Conrad as Gil, Ann Morrison as Belle, Frances Cheney as Allison, Will Gear as Arnold, Rick Vallon as the bartender, and Paul Frees as Danny. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are being whirled through the streets of New Orleans by the gay revelers of Mardi Gras. But somewhere in the crowd, dressed as a clown, is a murderer. Your murderer, from whom there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with the story of a man caught up in the night of terror through his complete innocence. As John and Gwen Bagney tell it in their exciting story, The Man Who Stole the Bible. Be listening. Goodbye then until this same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. I'm Hammond speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York and the independent marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to New Orleans during Mardi Gras, behind the gaiety of which lies a nightmare world of terror and death, as John and Gwen Bagney tell it in The Man Who Stole the Bible.
I didn't mean to steal the Bible. That wasn't my intention. Well, I'd never taken as much as a towel or an ashtray out of a hotel. And if I'd known the night of terror it would lead me into, I'd never have taken it at all. Mardi Gras, New Orleans, a gay time, a lot of laughs, if you're in on it. But me, I was stuck in a stuffy hotel room waiting for a call from the boss. And the sound of all those people out on the street having fun got on my nerves.
Operator.
This is Mr. Cummings, room 302. Whatever happened to that bellhop I sent for?
Will you speak louder? I can't hear you, sir.
I said...
just a minute.
Operator. Operator.
What was it you wanted?
Look, I want a bellhop. I want him to bring me something to read. Anything. You said half an hour ago he was on his way up.
Hasn't he answered your call yet, Mr. Cummings?
He has not.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. The hotel is so crowded. The Mardi Gras, you know, it's almost impossible. Just a minute.
Look, operator. Operator. Oh, nuts. I paced back and forth, wishing the boss would call me so I could get out of the room. I didn't dare leave, even to go down and get a paper. He's that kind of a guy. Expects you to be on tap all the time. There was no radio in the room and nothing to read. I went through all the drawers, hoping somebody had left behind a magazine or a seed catalog, anything. And then I found it. The Bible. The Gideon Bible. For years I've seen them in hotel rooms, but I'd never paid any attention to them. And now I opened the book. 1 Samuel, chapter 19. I lay down on the bed and I started to read. The knock surprised me. I'd forgotten about the bellhop. I got up to go to the door and I realized I had the Bible in my hand. It's a fine thing when a man feels embarrassed caught reading the Bible, but that's how I felt. Embarrassed. I stuffed it under the pillow and I went to the door. You sure took your time. Oh.
I'm a house detective. I'm sorry to disturb you.
Well, that's all right. What's the matter?
Well, it seems that the woman who had this room before you lost her pocketbook. She thinks she left it here.
I haven't seen it, but, well, you can come in and look.
Why, thanks. It doesn't seem likely that the maids would have overlooked it, but once in a while something gets left in a drawer.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing, the things you find left behind in hotels.
Yeah, it sure is.
Oh, no, it's not here. Sorry to have intruded on you.
That's all right.
Good night.
Good night. I lay down again and went back to reading the Bible. Once I got used to the old-fashioned language, I found it pretty interesting. The story of David, anyway. A guy being chased by everybody, not knowing who his enemies were, every minute expecting to get killed. I was down to the part where David's wife puts a dummy in his bed as a decoy to save his life when I was interrupted again. This time I automatically stuck the Bible under the pillow and went to the door.
Hello.
Oh. Hello.
I'm having the most awful time. I've tried and tried, but it just won't work. And the room's so stuffy.
How's that?
The window in my room, it won't open.
Oh.
Would you open it for me?
Oh, I should. Just show me. Which room is it?
Right next to yours. Just around this corner, room 300. I have the same trouble on buses. The windows never open. It drives me mad. You can see how stuffy the room is.
Mm-hmm. This window?
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't that odd? It opened for you.
Yeah, it did. And easy, too. And so does this one.
I can't understand it.
You sure you tried?
You don't think I'd come to your door and ask you to come over here if I didn't need something, do you?
Well, it's been done.
I won't argue with that. But now that you're here, wouldn't you like to have a drink? For your trouble, I mean?
Oh, no, I don't think I
You
can.
can watch the parade much better here than on your side of the building.
Oh, no, I can't.
What's the matter?
Oh, sorry, I have to go. That's my phone.
Wait, don't go. You can have the call transferred here. But it's silly to go all the way back to your room.
Hello, Cummings. Oh, yes, sir. I've been waiting for your call. Now, listen, I've covered the whole territory down here, and things look pretty healthy. You see, the main difficulty has been that... I stared at my briefcase. I had left it on the dresser. Now it was on the bed, and everything had been pulled out of it. The closet door was ajar, the drawers in the bureau were open. My Gladstone apparently hadn't been touched, but everything else had. I talked with the boss about trends, business conditions, but my mind was on a girl who wanted a window open. A window that wasn't stuck, while somebody searched my room. Calmly, I finished my conversation and hung up. There was no reason now for me to stay in the room. I gathered up my stuff, and I took the Bible from under the pillow. Funny. I had gotten interested in it. I wanted to go on reading it, so I stuck it in my top coat pocket and walked out of the room. On my way to the elevator, I got a sudden impulse. I stopped in front of room 300 and knocked. Where's
Nobody here now, mister. The lady checked out.
Oh, but that's impossible. I was just here.
I don't know anything about that, but she checked out a couple minutes ago, and I got to clean up after her right now. I'm going to be glad when Mardi Gras is over. Everybody goes crazy. Hotel goes crazy. People check in, check out. They steal everything that ain't tied down.
Steal?
Yeah, I said steal. Ashtrays, bath towels, soap. I wouldn't be surprised if they take the beds next.
The Bible in my pocket suddenly felt like a pound of uranium. I wondered if the cleaning woman could read the guilt on my face, but she put her wastebasket down in the hall and went back in to clean the room. For a second, I considered taking the Bible back to room 302, and maybe I would have if it hadn't been for the discarded book jacket in the wastebasket. It was gaudy, red and yellow. I grabbed it up, put it around the Bible. The title read, You Will Die Tonight.
Strut, boy. Well, all those bellboys, I swear, I'll go out of my mind. Oh, checking out, Miss Cunning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me see. You were in room...
302.
302?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, what's the matter?
I've had so much trouble over that room. I was supposed to hold it for a lady, but you can't keep rooms vacant during Mardi Gras. I gave her the room next to yours, but she checked like crazy to the manager.
Next to me?
Yes, room 300. She checked out just a few minutes ago.
I don't know what this is all about, but there's something peculiar going on in room 302.
Peculiar?
I didn't mind the house detective coming in to look for the purse, but I didn't like having my stuff searched while I was out of the room.
Searched?
Yeah, I said searched.
You say the house detective did that?
He said the woman who had the room before me left a purse.
Oh,
and
but that's impossible.
Well, what do you mean?
A man had the room ahead of you. Oh, yes, I'm positive of it. Just a minute, I got the register right here. I'll tell you. Yes, a man, a Mr. Gregory. The house detective isn't on duty today, but when he comes in tomorrow, I'll tell him that...
Not on duty? Well, then what was he doing in my room?
Today?
Of course, tonight. A tall guy with black hair.
There's some mistake, Miss Cummins. Our house detective, Mr. St. Clair's his name, is short and bald, and he hadn't been in the hotel all day. He's homesick.
It had the makings of an interesting little intrigue, but I left the mystery of room 302 with the room clerk and went to the cigar stand. It was 8 o'clock. My train wouldn't leave until midnight.
Yes, sir. What'll it be? Cigarettes or cigars?
Cigars. 3 Coronas. No, make it 6.
Always like to sell cigars. Men don't smoke cigars like they used to. Cigarettes, that's the fashion today, but give me a good cigar every day.
Sounds like somebody's having a good time.
Oh, they all have a good time during the carnival.
Say, I wonder where I could check my bag and briefcase for a little while.
Oh, going to see the parade?
Yeah, I thought I would. Mill around a little bit. I've got a couple hours to kill.
Well, I'd be glad to keep it for you. I'm on duty till midnight.
Oh, would you? Well, that's mighty nice of you.
Oh, don't mind it at all. Mardi Gras is something to see. You shouldn't miss it. But you'll have more fun if you rent a costume. The hotel's got them for rent, you know.
No, thanks. I'll go as I am. He stuck my stuff under the counter, and I elbowed my way across the crowded lobby to the street door. Through the glass, my eyes met the eyes of another man, a tall man with black hair, the man who said he was the house detective. I swung the hotel door open. I had a few questions I wanted to ask that boy, but he was swallowed up in the crowd. And then a big hand clapped me on the shoulder, and a voice boomed in my ear.
There you are, sinner.
I whirled around and looked into the mask of a laughing, red-faced devil.
Don't try to evade me, sinner. I've come to collect you my nice shiny pitchfork. And when the devil comes for you, your time is up.
All I could see in the mask were a pair of eyes. They were gray eyes, and they were laughing. And the devil threw his arm around my shoulder and urged me along the street.
Come on.
I balked a little. I hadn't had anything to drink. The whole thing seemed kind of silly. But before I knew what happened, a clown grabbed my other arm.
Let's take the sinner to the fiery furnace.
And the two of them, the devil and the clown, were propelling me down the street into a car.
Come along, sinner.
Fiery furnace.
Hey, wait a minute, fellas.
Oh, the sinner is reluctant. Push him in, clown.
Hey, now, look.
Get in, sinner.
Hey, you guys. Hey, let me out. Look, where are we going?
All right. Let's have it.
Have what?
The Bible. The Bible you took out of room 302.
The Bible? You're not drunk.
Don't waste time on him. Frisk him.
Look, I don't know who you are, but you can't...
He hasn't got it on him. What'd you do with it? Where is it?
I told you. I haven't got it.
Oh! That's to let you know we're not playing. Now, let's take it again. Where's the Bible?
I tell you, I haven't got it. I had it, but I guess I lost it.
Lost it? Where'd you lose it?
I don't know. Why, you...
Don't do that, sinner. It's just as easy for me to pull this trigger as to look at you.
But I'm telling you the truth. I haven't got it anymore.
All right, you haven't got it. But you tell me where it is, you understand, if I have to kill you to find out. Hey, what are you stopping for?
Well, can't you see? The crowd, I can't get through.
Oh, come on, let's get moving. Get on out of here.
Oh, what do you want me to do? Drive over him?
Look, fellas, a shortcut.
A bunch of revelers, drunk and out for beer, opened the back door of the car and started climbing over us. Nothing would stop them from weaving through. They thought it was fun, pushing and shoving each other. One of them fell, sprawled across the devil's lap, and they began to pile up. And suddenly I knew this was escape. I climbed out of the car. I ran blindly away from them. I saw a cab at an intersection. I ran out. I opened the door and... There he was, in the back seat. The phony house detective. I slammed the cab door and bolted across the street. There was a policeman on the corner directed past me. I ran up to him.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Hey, look, they're trying to kill me. You gotta help me.
Kill you? Who's trying to kill you?
The devil. He's after me.
The devil, you say?
Yeah, and the clown, too.
Oh, not Mickey Mouse?
No, I mean it. I'm serious.
You're drunker than you look.
I haven't had a drink, I tell you. They're trying to kill me.
Why would they be doing that?
Because they want the Bible.
The Bible?
Yeah, look, you see, I stole the Bible. And here they come now.
Who?
The devil and the clown across the street. You've got to get me out of this. You've got to stop them. They'll kill me.
Yeah, sure. Now, take it easy, young fella.
Oh, there you are, sinner. Come on. What are you trying to do? Get us in trouble?
Trouble?
Sure. He's going to miss the party.
Look, it's all a trick. Don't listen to him.
This young fella claims you're trying to kill him.
Me? Oh, no, not me. But if he doesn't get to that party pretty soon, his wife will kill him.
I haven't got a wife. There isn't any party. They're lying, I tell you. They're lying.
Oh, now be good, boys. Go someplace else and settle your squabble. I got to keep this traffic moving.
Please, officer.
Please. Oh, now you heard what the policeman said. Come on, sinner.
Let go of me, officer.
Oh, bet it now. Go on now, here.
I demand to be arrested. I demand it.
Go on now, I said. Now go on.
Officer, you're a fool. You're a fool.
Well, if it wasn't for this Mardi Gras, I'd run you in right now.
And you won't arrest me? Okay, but remember, I didn't want to do it. Oh.
That does it. Striking an officer. All right, fella. You're under arrest.
Xylene. That's a word to remember, for xylene is one of the highest octane gasoline components known to science. And xylene benefits you when you buy Richfield gasoline. Why? Because today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. That's right. Xylene in Richfield gasoline helps give your car that high anti-knock performance. That swift surge of power when you step on the accelerator. That smooth as silk action along the highway. Furthermore, your Richfield dealer offers you a choice of two great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Richfield Ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors. Or Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Each Richfield gasoline is tops in its class. Each contains xylene. For the finest performance at lowest cost per mile, let your Richfield dealer help you select the right Richfield gasoline to fit your motor's power requirements. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
I sat in the drunk tank of the New Orleans jail and tried to figure it out. Who were the devil and the clown and the phony house detective? Why was the Bible so important that they would even kill me to get it? My bags were back at the cigar counter in the hotel. My train was scheduled to leave at midnight. But how was I going to get out of New Orleans? Already it was 10 o'clock, and as long as I stayed in jail, I would be safe. But even that didn't last long. I hadn't been there half an hour when a cop came for me and took me to the desk sergeant.
Here's your personal belongings, Cummings. Your release, you can go. But try to behave yourself. We're pretty busy tonight.
Release?
You know, you're a lucky guy. Culpepper decided not to press charges against you.
You know what you could get for striking an officer.
What? Well, aren't you going to hold me?
Well, your fine's been paid. Now go on, get out of here, and keep out of trouble, will you?
Oh, but I am in trouble. That's what I tried to tell the cop, but he wouldn't listen to me. I had to hit him. My fine? You said somebody paid my fine?
That's right. It's been paid.
But who? Who paid it?
I don't know who it was. He didn't give a name. He just paid it.
Was it a man in a devil's costume?
Huh?
Or a clown?
Now, look.
Well, what did he look like?
How do I know what he looked like? He was an ordinary-looking guy. Tall, big, had black hair.
The house detective.
The who?
They'll kill me, I tell you. I hadn't heard her come into the station. She moved so quietly. She was a nun, and she was talking excitedly in French. I wasn't paying much attention to her. I was thinking instead of my own problem. The house detective had paid my fine. He wanted me out of jail. He wanted me loose on the street. Why? And the devil and the clown. Were they with him? Were all of them waiting outside that door for me?
Well, please, sister, I wish I could help you, but I can't understand a word you're saying.
Monsieur, les gens dans la route m'empêchent de trouver mon chemin. Ils me prennent pour un des célébrants.
English. Can you speak English, sister?
Oh, pardon, monsieur. Masquerade. Costume. The people think masquerade. No masquerade.
Huh?
I think she's trying to say the people on the streets think she's wearing a masquerade costume.
Merci bien, monsieur. I am loose.
You mean lost?
Oui, monsieur. Lost. I am expect at convent, the Vieux Carré.
The Vieux Carré? Oh, that's in the French Quarter.
Exactement, oui.
Mm-hmm.
I try for taxi cab. The crowd, how you say, push me around. Pouvez-vous envoyer un de vos gendarmes?
What?
A gendarme. She wants you to send a policeman to help her to get to the convent.
Oui, monsieur.
I'm sorry, sister. I'd be glad to, but I don't have anybody in right now. If you don't mind sticking around for a while, I'd be very...
Sticking around?
The sergeant, the prefect... He says he's sorry. If you will wait, there is no one available right now to help you. Wait a minute. The nun stood there, frightened and bewildered, out of place in the police station. But for me, it was a miraculous break. Sure, I could walk out of that police station with her. And if they were waiting outside, waiting to get me, I could walk right by them. They wouldn't dare touch me as long as I was with a nun. I could take her to the convent, and once there, I'd be safe. I'll take the sister to the convent, Sergeant.
It's okay with me if it's okay with her.
Merci, monsieur. Merci mille fois.
As we walked out of the police station, I took her arm. To help her, yes, but also to steady my own fear. Any minute I expected to see one or all of them, the devil, the clown, the house detective. But they weren't in sight. There were people milling about on the street, but not the three I feared, and, strangely, not finding them there frightened me more than ever. I found a cab and gave the driver the address of the convent. The nun and I didn't try to talk. I realized this whole thing was difficult for her, and I didn't feel like talking. Too much had happened to me for one night. The cab pulled up in front of an ancient building in the French Quarter, crumbling cement and wrought ironwork, and we got out, and I walked with her to the big front door. The nun raised the knocker, and I knew I'd been had.
What is wrong?
Fingernails. Red, polished finger... You're not a nun.
Well, it's...
Hurry, boy, get him in his way.
It was the devil and the clown. They yanked me into the house. And the girl, I stared at her. Back in the police station, I hadn't really looked at her face. Her black robes had spelled freedom to me. That's as far as I had thought. But now I knew I'd seen her before. Only before, she had worn a green dress and a scarlet mouth to match her fingernails, and her hair had been blonde and long. And she wanted a window open. A window that wasn't stuck.
You given us a lot of trouble.
Look, I'm sorry.
We've been very patient. Now we want the Bible.
I told you before, I don't have it.
You had it?
Yeah, I had it. I took it. I don't know why I took it, but I lost it.
All right. Who sent you to get it?
I'll handle him. All right. Who you working for, Poloni?
Look, there's some mistake. I'm a salesman. I sell washing machines.
You're lying.
Look, I tell you.
Where's the stuff? Has Poloni got it?
What stuff? I don't know any Poloni. What are you slapping me around for? That won't get you any point.
Oh. Let me talk to him. Look, if you're lying for Poloni...
Who's Poloni? I don't know any Poloni.
Poloni wouldn't take a beating for you.
Oh, look, I tell you...
Whatever he's paying you, we'll pay you more.
We'll pay him nothing. You hand over that Bible, or tell us where the dope is stashed, or so help me, I'll kill him.
Dope? So, that's what it is. Dope?
Yeah, Mr. Innocent. That's what it is. Dope.
Stop it. If you kill him, we'll never find us. Listen to me. What's your name?
Cummings.
You work for Poloni, Cummings.
Oh.
Nobody but Poloni knows about that Bible.
Oh.
You came to hijack the stuff.
No, I tell you, I don't know Poloni.
Stop lying. Poloni knew our carrier was hot, that he had to drop the stuff somewhere in New Orleans.
Oh, you're wasting time, baby. I'll make him talk. You going to talk?
I don't...
You want to butter this gun right across your face?
Look, you've got to believe me, He hit me with the gun. I tried to keep my eyes open, to hang on to consciousness. Across the room, I saw the door open, and in it stood a man with another gun. A big man with black hair, the phony house detective. Was his name Poloni? That was the last thing I had as I passed out. I don't know how long I was out. When I came to, I was lying on a bed. My head was throbbing, my cheeks, my nose, every bone in my body seemed to ache. There was a cold cloth on my eyes. I tried to think, why did I hurt so? Oh, yeah, the Bible.
All right, let's not waste any more time. What did you do with the Bible?
Where are the others?
They've been taken care of. Look, you took the Bible that belongs in this room. Now, what did you do with it?
This room? Oh, yeah. Room 302. What am I doing back in the hotel?
You have no right to touch that Bible. Now, think what you did with it. Where is it?
Look, I told him. I must have lost it. I don't know.
I'll get it. Yeah?
You're the gentleman who left his suitcases with me, Mr. Cummings?
Suitcases? Come in. Who are you?
I run the cigar stand in the lobby. I saw you bring Mr. Cummings in. If you don't mind my saying so, quite tight.
Yeah.
I'm going off duty in a little while, and I thought he'd need his things. You see, he checked them with me.
Thanks.
Oh, I almost forgot. Here's his book,
too. Don't leave the book.
Oh, but you forgot it
no,
on the counter.
I don't want the book. You can have it.
I'll take the book.
No, don't give it to him.
Thanks for your trouble.
Oh, don't mention it. Hope he feels better tomorrow.
Well, at last, the Bible. You will die tonight.
Look, Poloni, I didn't know. I swear, I just took it.
Look, I'm not Poloni. That's a pretty clever stunt, covering the Bible with a whodunit jacket.
Well, I only took it because
Let's see. Third book, second chapter.
What?
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, chapter 1, 2.
But...
Yes, here's the address of the warehouse where the stuff is.
I don't understand. If you're not Poloni, who are you?
Huh? Oh, John Stan, United States Treasury Department, Narcotics Division.
T-Man? But I
Look,
thought
you made my job very difficult tonight, Mr. Cummings. We traced a narcotics carrier all the way around the world to New Orleans, to room 302. But when we arrested him, he was clean. He didn't have the evidence. Room 302 was the link. That girl, Frenchie, was to take this room, and I would have followed her here to where the evidence was stashed. It was as simple as that, but you stepped in and threw us all off.
Oh, why didn't you tell me you were a government man when you came in tonight to look for the pocketbook?
How did I know that you weren't a new member of the gang? Look, take my advice, Mr. Cummings. Quit stealing things out of hotels.
Oh, look, I never stole a thing in my life. This is the first time.
You know, there's one thing that I can't figure out. Why did you steal a Bible?
Well, you're not going to believe this, but honest. I just wanted to finish the story.
Attention, baseball fans. Here's a new book you won't want to miss. The new Richfield Baseball book, hot off the press. Its 32 pages are jam-packed with facts on America's favorite sport. You'll find Major League schedules,
many minor league schedules, World Series box scores. You'll find a special baseball quiz you can try on your friends. You'll find seating diagrams of leading stadiums, plus dozens of other fascinating facts on the country's #1 sport. And this Richfield baseball book doesn't cost you a single red cent. It's free. Ask the Richfield gasoline dealer for your free baseball book tomorrow. Ask him, too, about Richfield All-Point Safety Service, a special service that will save your car trouble this spring. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson and has tonight presented The Man Who Stole the Bible by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were Rick Vallon as Cummings, Nanette Boardman as the girl, Ben Wright as the house detective, Will Gere as the devil, Lou Merrill as the clown. Also heard were Mary Shipp, Harry Bartell, Peter Leeds, and Paul Frees. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are tearing across the Nevada desert in a 200-horsepower Bentley Maximus, pursued by the implacable avenger of the left arm. Beside you is the man they are seeking to destroy, your companion in an adventure from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with the story of a foreign spy who sought to renounce the left arm and become once again an American citizen. As Hildegard Tylett tells it in her exciting new novel, The Rim of Terror. Be listening. Goodbye then until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.